Welcome to the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson.
And happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
We just got in the door. We were just having a great dinner with our friends James Anito and Celine Pereira. And I'll show you a little picture of that. We had fun. We had some Mexican food and his baby Dawson.
It's Dawson.
And he loved these guys. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had some awesome chow. And they're going to be coming on
October 5th.
October 5th.
Yes.
They'll be on talking about paranormal things. So, hey, we hope you guys are doing well, having a great week. It's hot up here in New England. Finally,
yeah.
Right? It's been a pretty cool summer.
Yeah.
And we're finally getting heat. And we got a great guest for you guys. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. His name is Daniel Jackson. He has been gifted with the ability to communicate with archangels and spirit. With this information, he guides and assists others to help fulfill their spiritual path. super interesting guy and quite funny.
Yes.
He's also an author, and we're going to show you and tell you about his book. And let's bring him right on. We'll get right to things. What's happening, my friend? Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Do you go by Daniel or Dan? What do you prefer?
Either or's fine.
I meant to ask you before the show.
Yeah, Daniel or Dan. Daniel or Dan is fine. When someone calls me Danny, I feel like I'm 7 years old. Yeah,
Right?
I'm not
Reminds
one
me
of
of The
those guys
Shining.
who I don't walk around with my baseball cap backwards and all that stuff because I'm cool.
Riding a big wheel
Yeah.
in the Overlook Hotel.
I do ride a motorcycle, and I see a lot of those guys that ride with the big giant wheel in the front. I always tell them I used to have a big wheel too when I was 7.
Right? You're into some of that stuff and
Spikes.
Jeeps and things of that nature too.
Yeah,
right?
I have a Jeep, and I bought it when we lived in Delaware. We moved out to Arizona, Lower Arizona, about almost 2 years ago. And but back in Delaware, everybody named their Jeeps. I asked Spirit because I asked them everything. What should I name the Jeep? And they told me, so I put it on there. So the name of the Jeep is Lucifer.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I used to
Ah.
have a plate. I used to have a plate on the back that said LUCIFR1. I couldn't get Lucifer completely because somebody already had it. But
Very interesting.
because
Now,
there's
Lucifer's
such,
kind of
there's a Lucifer.
considered
There's no such thing as Satan. No.
is considered a fallen angel. Is that something you agree with?
Where are you
Is
going to
he
fall
inherently-
from? Heaven's not 3,000 miles in the sky. Heaven is right next to us, so there's nowhere to fall from. Nor did he fall from the grace of God because he is still an archangel. He doesn't have wings and horns and all that stuff and tail and all that stuff. He actually has dark hair and he's got a full beard and it's black and he's got black hair. But not a fallen angel. Not Satan. Not none of that. Not the devil. None of that stuff. There's no one leader of negative energies. Negative energies are just negative. They're not demons. They're not anything else. They're just negative energies. And some of them look different, but because they are pure energy, they can manipulate themselves to look like anything that they want to. So if they throw something across the room and it scares the crap out of you, and you think demon or devil, because this is what we have been taught by religion, those pieces of crap, that he will manipulate himself to look like that and then come through again and scare the crap out of you more. They don't want to kill you. They don't want you to die. They don't want your head to spin around. They can't possess you because that's a bunch of bull crap too. What he wants you to do is he wants you to produce fear so that he can feed off of that negative energy. That's what they want. So, but there's just thousands of them around all the time. We have them here too. They're called people. And then they don't cross over because they were crappy people or just felt like they didn't want to cross over. And then they turn into a negative air. But in order for them to survive where they are in that lower realm, they have to have more negative energy. And they can't get it if they kill you.
Okay.
I see.
I see that.
That is, it's a lot to unpack a little bit there, but we definitely agree with like this idea of roles and spirits not always being what they say they are, or
No.
looking a certain way to. I don't know if it's always fear or maybe to get your attention, sort of thing.
Sure. Well, other
recently-
spirits try to get your attention too, in a sense where they are, there's no rules there. So if they want to come through here and they want to antagonize somebody, they can. Because when you remain earthbound, you're still holding on to your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish, all that stuff. And because you have that, if you want to play, we call it here when you play a prank on someone, but they're playing a prank on you and you can't see them.
Anne says narcissist attachments. Do you think that can be narcissist-like?
Yeah, we have a narcissist attachments here as well as you have spiritual ones as well. They just want to antagonize you because sometimes they just think it's funny, but most of which they want to produce negative energy from you so that they can drain that from you. And then when they pull that from you, they know that you're this type of person. They will constantly do that and keep you negative by giving you a little bit of negative energy so you'll continuously produce that, and then you turn into a buffet for them. They are energy vampires.
Interesting.
Yeah, Nefi.
Yeah.
It was on the show we watched.
Yeah, it was Energy Vampires. And
Yes.
that was actually a pretty funny show.
Yeah,
What
it
is the name of that
I
show?
can't remember.
I can't remember
Please
either. I
don't.
think it's British. The British are very funny people.
Yeah, they got good TV shows.
Yeah.
They do. They
Monty
really
Because
do.
they
Python.
don't hide anything, They don't even care about nudity or anything like that. So
Yeah, the little easy.
That's Benny Hill,
Easy going.
right? It's like-
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw boobs on Benny Hill. I was like, oh my God, was that Bruce? I stayed up
Oh.
every night till 11 o'clock to see if that episode came back on again.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
dun,
I gotta
dun,
say,
dun.
I stayed up a few nights myself.
Yeah, I did too.
A little
Yeah, I got it.
lingerie, a little boobage.
Yeah,
It was rare back in the day.
It was.
yeah,
Sure.
it was.
TV
Yeah.
back in the day. That was me.
Yeah, the moving the
So I
rabbit
found
ears.
out one of my friends was sneaking home some. So we had this little fort we'd hang out, and then he was taking his dad's Playboy magazines. And
Oh yeah. It was
Yeah.
weird
good
how
until we got
those
caught.
magazines ended up in the woods somehow.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Yeah.
You know, you just walk into the woods and it'd be like a Playboy or a
Yeah, you
hustler.
you couldn't dig a hole and find any gold, but you could find dirty magazines.
It's so true.
Just randomly in the woods. You know, kids must have
Right.
been stealing them from their parents, taking them out in the
Yeah.
woods, doing what kids do.
Yeah, and then you pick up the magazine and you're like, did it rain last night? Why are these pages stuck together? What's going
Oh,
on?
never pick up a magazine like that.
Yeah, well, if you're a kid my age, back then you picked up every magazine. So
Oh yeah, I had no
you picked
problem.
up the Sears catalog just so you could see the underwear section.
Spiegel.
Or not, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
I like their clothes. That's really gross.
I did too, and their
Yeah,
Philip says, if you ask nice, I'll show you mine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
gone
It's the Philip.
south
vibe.
what
real
do I want to
fast.
order for Christmas? I want
We're
that.
off with a
Yeah.
bang, so to speak. Yes. So where did all this start? When did you start talking to angels and having this kind of phenomena occur to you?
I've seen spirit ever since I was 3 years old. I saw them. My whole family was seeing them. We lived in a town in New Jersey. I'm from the East Coast. Oh boy! And we had this
sorry.
right next to the Delaware River. So this is where the Hessians fought, and there was a little hospital on there. So this battlefield, my sister had told me they did a dig recently, and they found a boatload of bodies. And they're not going to just bury one, So they found all these bodies, but everyone in that area was seeing something in their home. But as I know, some spirit do hang out in your home, okay? And that is true, but not always, because what happens is they die in the area, and then you build a home, and then they're in your home. It's pretty simple. Because everything to them physical is just nothing. They're not walking through walls. They're just walking. But so my brothers and sisters and I, my mom and dad, we all saw them. My sister was getting ready for school one morning, and my mom was helping her, and they went into the bathroom, and there was a door there with a full-length mirror, and when they walked up to the mirror, there was another woman standing in a colonial outfit. So we
Wow.
had things like my brothers and I were downstairs watching TV, and this is in the 70s because I'm old as crap. And my sister's room was 2 flights up, and she had a record player. Well, we were watching TV, and something turned on the record player. But that's not the crazy part. The crazy part was it was switching records. So back then you had to lift the record up and put it on that post and then drop it down.
Yes.
It was playing other records.
So were they like stacked on the spindle kind of
No.
thing? I remember mine did that. Like you could put
No,
like,
they were
records on
picking up records.
They
and
were
putting
Picking
on.
them up and putting them on, like
Oh.
singly, manually.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well,
we saw 3 of them there all the time. It was because we'd always see the shadows on the wall. It was always 2 men and a woman.
So they like music, obviously.
Well, they like Pink Floyd and Alice Cooper.
some good spirits
Yes.
right there.
Yeah. They were
We all
rocking
love
out.
those spirits too.
Yeah.
Right?
But we were still, we seen them, and then my mom and dad and I and my one brother moved down to Delaware, the first state, because you know what's in Delaware? Nothing. And, except
Big
there's a
Iron
lot of
Bridge.
people there now, that's why we
Yeah.
left. But,
Tolls.
Toll.
Yeah, tolls, yeah, that we live near the toll road, so from 12 miles north of the Dover Air Force Base all the way down to the beach, which is 20 miles south of us, from Wednesday to Sunday, it's traffic. And that's one of the reasons why we left. But the other reason is just a spiritual thing. But so we go down to Delaware, and at that point, no one else is seeing them except for me. I played in a rock band back in the 80s, so I had big hair. I wore zebra striped spandex. I thought I was cool, but not so much now. But I came
You're
home
cool.
from a
You are
gig.
cool.
What's that?
You are very cool.
You're cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm old now, but I came home from a gig, and when I
You
did,
don't
I
need as
laid
much
down in
Aquanet.
bed. What's that?
We don't need as much Aquanet anymore.
Not
Oh
anymore.
no, I don't. Yeah, I actually have hair. I just shave it off. But yeah, I was laying in bed when I
Sorry.
came home from this gig,
Joe.
and something laid down next to me like 3-4 times. And then when I rolled over to see what it was that fifth time, whatever was there picked up the blanket that I had on top of me and brought it up to the ceiling and shook it above me, and then it dropped it on top of me. And then for the next 2 years, I slept on the couch downstairs. 'Cause
Yeah, I
was
would too.
Scared. I mean, I've seen them all my life, but there were some instances that were just different. There was one still in my 20s, and my girlfriend was. We were watching Rocky Horror Picture Show in my bedroom. She was at the foot of the bed. I was at the head of the bed, and as we're watching, something snaked its way about maybe 4 feet long, about 2 feet thick, white, snaked its way out of the closet, across the room, and then just disappeared. And then my girlfriend turned around to me, and she was like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, let's get the heck out of here." So, but that was just a common thing after a while. I mean, people knew that I was sensitive to things. I had a friend when I went to visit him in New Jersey, and he said, "Hey, I got something in my apartment in one room, I think. Can you go check it out in there?" And I said, "Sure." I walked in, and the room was freezing cold. No other room. And then I could just pick up, and I just started hearing stuff, and I was like, I came right back out. I said, "Buddy, move." And he did. Yeah,
And that was it.
Wow.
That
Yeah,
was
there
pretty
was
much the
something
whole
very
negotiation.
horrible there. And it was
You
going to
find-
go after his newborn child. So,
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that is
Yeah.
horrifying.
yeah,
Are
so-
they that easy to negotiate with? Like you can say, "Hey, I just can't be here," and they'll move on.
No, I mean, the only way that you can make negative energies go away is by being a positive person and putting positivity out there. If they don't want to leave, they don't have to. It's that simple.
And we were talking
mean-
at the front of this show or just before the show about how they can change the way they look to work off their fears or
Yes, because
things.
they want you to produce fear so that they can get the fear from you, because they need negative energy to live where they are, to survive where they are. Because if they don't have enough energy, what people don't understand is in that lower realm, there's not a lot of energy, and I see it. I don't ever not see that other side. Like if I look at your background, or even if I look at you, I can see your complexion, but in your complexion, I see a mist of blue. I see a mist of blue in everything. So in other words, I see into that realm all the time. I see the veil, and then if I concentrate a little bit too much, then I start seeing faces. But there's not a lot of energy there. There's no light there. The only light that is there comes from the people, the beings that are there, the souls that are there. And there is these bands of energy that float through, but they have to walk up to it and like cock their head back, and they kind of like go into a dream state and they collect it, and then they walk away. If they don't do that, they feel as though like we would hear it when you're nauseated. So they have to have it. The negative ones need negative energy because they are negative energies. So they need a more powerful energy that's going to work from them. And why not come into this realm? Because everybody here is, most of them are pieces of crap. So they know that it's a smorgasbord here. It's a buffet for them. So this is what they do.
Do you
And
think
they
it's
can-
a prison planet?
What's that?
Do you think it's a prison planet that our souls are here for?
Oh, no.
just
You're here to
through
learn.
these-
We're here to
beings.
learn. We're here to learn lessons, and we're here to fulfill a purpose. That's why we keep coming back over and over and over again. Because you haven't learned enough, but you haven't fulfilled the purpose. And the purpose is not becoming a doctor or a lawyer. That's an occupational choice of yours. Your purpose is very simple. We're here to help each other just for the sake of helping. Not because you can, but because you should. But in a way where someone might walk up to you, Chris, and say, "Excuse me, sir, I'm lost. Can you help me find my way?" And then you go, "I hate people. Forget people. Screw you." Or you say, "Sure, I'll help you. Well, let me show you. Well, let me help you even better. I'll get my car. You follow me, and then I'll show you how to get there." When you do that, when you do something good for somebody, you know how you get it. You get those goosebumps and stuff like that. And goosebumps is not your nerves. That's your soul coming through, letting you know that this is something good. Just like when you listen to music, because music
Yeah, I
is
was going to
sound
say
and
music
vibration.
can do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's sound and vibration, as we are sound and vibration. So
Yes.
so when you do these good things, you're basically punching your dance card until you can actually, because you go home, and then we'll let you know at that point if you have to come back or not. And if you do, it's because you just got to get that purpose fulfilled. But you, as a white light loving soul, like to do good things anyway, and you'll come back because you go, "Oh, cool! I get to go back to Earth and do some cool things. Maybe drive cars, maybe not, because not every time you've been here has there been cars." So, but you're living the human experience. That's what you're doing. So you keep coming back until you get that purpose filled, and basically what you're doing is you're punching your dance card so you can get that golden ticket from Willy Wonka and go back home and stay home.
I'm
That's the
waiting
goal.
for that golden ticket. And there's
Yeah.
a question out here from Jerry Swope.
Swope. Thank
He asked, when someone passes away, how long is it for them to transition over to the light? Is it instant, or is there a waiting period? That's a good question.
No, well, there's a transition from where you go. So once you step up out of your body, you're going to take a look down. You're going to say, "Oh, I don't need that anymore." You'll take a step to the left. You'll look to the right, and a light's going to turn on for you. Your transitioning is up to you, where you want to go. You're either going to walk into that light or you're going to stay here as an earthbound spirit. And a lot of them do stay here earthbound because someone told them they are a piece of crap, or maybe they think they're a piece of crap, or religion told them that they're going to be judged and go to hell and purgatory and all that crap, which is completely untrue. That's all brought to you by the people who want to tell you how to live your life the way they want you to live it and give them 10%. How did they know about 10% that long ago? Because they were kings and queens, and not who wrote that Bible. I don't call it the Bible. I call it the Babel, because that's what it is. So you either cross over into the light or you don't. And if you cross over into the light, you'll go to a holding place. They're going to go over your life. It's not judgment. They're just going to let you know what the soul did and what you didn't do. And they're going to
Like
tell
a
you about the
life
things they
review?
wanted you to do. Yeah. And then when you get there, at that point, you would then move on to heaven. Are you going to see God? No. No one sees God. You just don't. And then you get there. And then if you have to come back again, you'll come back again. And the transition point for that is, if you die over the age of 30 years old, you won't come back for another 80 years. If you die over the age of, or under the age of 30, you'll come back 8 years later. Reason being, for one simple reason. So you're not recognized.
It's
It's
interesting.
that simple. So that's why I tell people don't mess with 23andMe and Ancestry.com, because the person you're looking for 100 years ago that looks similar to you was you. It's just a different version. That's all.
Oh, that is
Sometimes we
something.
come back as men. Sometimes we come back as women.
I'm sure we've all seen those.
No one comes back as LBGTQ and all that stuff, because there isn't.
I'm sure everybody's seen those kind of pictures of like Nicolas Cage, and it's like 100-year-old picture. It's somebody else, but they look just like Nicolas Cage.
Correct.
You're saying that was Nicolas Cage?
Yes, you come back as you
So
just
you
come back
look.
as a different version of you. Like I said, sometimes you come back as a woman, sometimes you come back as a man. Why do you come in different bodies? Because you're here to learn different lessons. You're not here to learn the same lesson over and over again in the same body. But you are here to do it in that body. If you start changing parts or cutting things off, you're just coming back again. It's
Emery
that
Young
simple.
asks, have you ever seen anybody with a rainbow aura? And then she goes on to say, or a dragon
Rainbow or no.
on purpose.
You can have different colors in your aura, but you're not having a rainbow aura. I don't know who told you that, but they're lying to you. That's a bunch of bullcrap. Dragons, yes, but we call them dragons. They're just different beings from another place. That's all. Just like I see spirit all the time. I've seen some of them standing there looking at me, and they were talking, and I could hear them talking, and everything that I hear comes back as English. And when I saw them standing in front of me, the only thing that I can equate them to is Bigfoot. And I saw 7 of them standing in front of me, and I asked them if they wanted to cross over, and they said no. So I moved on.
Bigfoot. Yeah, let's go there. You
Yeah.
mentioned before the show that Bigfoot is quite real.
Yeah, I wonder if, see, you got Bigfoot with that bunny rabbit. I wonder if the bunny rabbit asks Bigfoot the same thing he asked the bear when he said to the bear, "Hey, Mr. Bear, do you have problems with shit balls sticking to your fur?" And the bear picked him up and wiped his ass with them.
Not Cocaine Bear.
No, not Cocaine Bear. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
very
he wouldn't-
funny movie.
He wouldn't care about shit balls if it was Cocaine Bear.
No, that was very unexpected. We didn't
Yeah.
expect that with that movie, Cocaine Bear. And
You're
anyway,
welcome. Yeah.
sorry. Thank you.
Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. He comes here for one thing, because there's food here. That's why.
What kind of
Whatever food Bigfoot eats, that's why he comes here.
Is he
comes
like an
here,
energy
and then when he's
being?
done, he leaves.
Is he
That's
an energy being, like an interdimensional thing, or is he
Correct.
more flesh and blood?
He's flesh and blood, but not. There are other beings as well as that can cross over into dimensions. We cannot. And all these people, all these. I'm not the rainbows and unicorn medium whatsoever. You know, I don't go along to get along, because those people do. They come up with this thing, like we were talking about earlier. Oh, throat chakras and all that stuff. No, that's your body. Your body has a throat. Your soul does not. Your soul doesn't eat, sleep, breathe. You know, it just is. Okay, so you don't need a throat. Okay, they don't communicate with their throat. They communicate what we would call telepathy. This is how we hear things. We just think we're hearing it in our ears. You're hearing it in your soul. That's what you're doing. But yeah, they just come through, and then when they don't need to be here anymore, they go back. We can. There's all these people that go, oh, I can't wait till I can reach the fifth dimension or sixth dimension. You're not reaching the fifth dimension or sixth dimension. Your body cannot handle it. It's meant to be here. That's it.
Yeah, a lot of
If you
people
were to,
talk about that,
if your
that
soul were to
something's
actually
going to change.
leave completely of your body, they would find your body dead.
Mm.
And
Now,
there's a bunch of crap.
To the spirits, you mentioned they don't have walls; they just walk and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. That might be like an astral type world. Maybe they see things. Do they see things that used to be there sometimes?
Who?
Spirits.
Um.
Say like a house that they lived in their lifetime. Just,
Oh yes. That.
Just knocked down.
I
house
live
there.
near I live near Tombstone, Arizona, and so I there's this one livery stable I go down to, and when I go there, because all I have to do in order for me to see spirit, only thing I have to do is be alive. That's it. I see them during the day, but I see them at nighttime, and I see them with my eyes closed. I see them better with my eyes closed, so I have to take a lot of medicine to go to sleep. Because if I don't, they'll bug me all night. Why? Because there's no space and time there. They just go. But there's this livery stable my wife likes to go to, and we go down there. And every time I close my eyes in there, because I like to take a look around at everything, I see these horses walking around. But what I see are other building parts that when I open my eyes are not there.
That is extremely interesting. And
Right.
why is that, do you think?
Good question.
Maybe because they were
Because
thought
it is
about,
because it is
acknowledged.
another place. It's just a different place. That's all. We're not meant to be there because we're in this meat suit.
The meat bags, yes.
Yeah,
That's what we call them. Yeah.
that's it.
I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Is it like another dimension, like another plane? I mean, 'cause I know,
Correct.
you know,
It's another plane of existence.
that we can see.
Because you are always in existence. You come here, you wake up in a baby body going, wow, and your mom and dad's going, I'm your mom and dad. And you're going, I don't know who the hell you are, but okay. And then they raise you, and then they teach you the ways of the world, which is a bunch of lies. They basically throw a bucket of bleach over top of you and wash away all the truth that you just had, that you just brought yourself with from heaven.
Interesting.
What is heaven to you?
Yes.
Heaven?
Yeah.
Yes.
What
I'll
does
say
that mean?
Well, I mean, I can describe it for you because they show it to me all the time.
Sure.
Every time I've seen it, it's as if it's as if I'm standing in a room and I'm looking through a window because I'm not meant to be there. And then I've seen like this woman walking around in an Elizabethan type dress and she was with a little boy and he had little short pants on, and there was buildings there, but the buildings were kind of like see-through looking. I saw some people riding this thing that almost looked like a Ferris wheel. I've seen some people that look like what we would consider cartoon people.
Like
I just see
anime
some-
or cartoon? Like
They're very animated looking. Yeah, they kind of got like round heads and big eyes, and it's just they look like cartoons. Yeah, it's just kind of strange. But I see regular people there as well, and then I just see all the other beings there as well. I don't just see people. I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish, and other beings from other places.
okay, so you do. All right.
Everything. I
My
see
next
everything.
question.
There's a
The
reason I
fish-
see everything.
Do the fish seem to reside in the water, or do they just
No, they're just swimming.
they're just swimming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that movie.
it's kind of strange, man. It's just
It is.
It was
kind of
strange.
strange. They
Okay.
bow to each other and they walk up and hug each other and say hello, but I hear them saying hello, but they're not moving their mouths because they don't have to anymore.
Bob Burnell has a good question for you. He asked if you've seen hell as well.
There's no such place as hell. You
No,
either remain here as an earthbound spirit, or you go home. That's it. There may be somebody walking around with horns and a tail, but he's not torturing anybody. It's just that's what he looks like where he comes from. But I have seen other spirit that are very negative spirit doing some horrible things. There's some things that people don't know about spirit. When you remain in the earthbound realm, you will still feel pain. You still hold on to your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, and anguish, and all that stuff, but you will feel actual pain. So if another spirit were to walk up to you and smack you in the face, you still feel it. I saw these beings walking around there. They didn't look like people regular. They did, but they didn't. If you've ever seen like on a TV show where they do an outline of a person that got murdered, well, this is what they look like. They look like an outline of a person with these squiggly lines go through it, and they were red. So that's how I knew they were negative energies. And then they were walking up to other spirit and grabbing them and started beating the crap out of them. And then they were just dragging them off somewhere. But there's nothing burning there. No one's being tortured all the time. They're just, there are beings, there are people there who just chose not to go in. I was in the hospital once. I'll explain it this way. I was in the hospital once, and my room was nice and dark. It was at nighttime, and I saw this girl come in, and this is what they're doing there. Saw this girl come in. She's staring at me because when spirit sees you, they see your body frame and they see a light inside of you, and that's your soul. But some of us have a light that's brighter than others. Mine is super bright, and I'll explain that later if you want to know. But
Sure.
They see me and they come up and they don't know what I am because my light's so bright. So they're looking at me and staring at me. This girl comes up, and then another girl comes in. She's looking at me, and then they turn around to each other and they said, "Hey, how you doing? Good. How about you? Good. What do you think?" And the girl said, "Sure." And the two girls start making out, and then I'm like, "Oh well, this is interesting." And then a guy came in, and then the two girls stopped making out. One girl and the guy started making out, and the other girl's just kind of staring at me. And then another guy came in. Those two stop making out. The two girls go back to making out. The two guys go to making out. And I'm standing there thinking this is one big giant spirit orgy, and I'm not invited.
Right. Sounds like
So-
one of those magazines we found in the woods.
Right.
Right, absolutely. But better because it was happening live right in front of my face. And then
Right.
I said to them, "Hey, is there anybody here that wants to cross over?" And all four of them stopped doing what they're doing and turned around and looked at me. I said, "Yeah, there's a voice coming out of this light. Do you want to cross over?" And one of the guys, I heard him said no. I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because there's no rules here. I can do whatever I want." He said, "Plus I have friends here too." He said, "But if I want to come through to your side and antagonize somebody, I'm allowed to." He said, if I cross over, they don't do that there." And how did he know they didn't do that there? Because
Yes.
if he's a spirit now, he was once there. As the two of you were once there. Anybody who's here on the face of this earth has been to heaven. They had to come back.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it almost sounds like this is the hell.
That's
Well,
all right.
you're here to learn things.
You're here to learn. Might be learning in hell.
But why is life here hell?
School was hell.
Because
Come think of it.
why? Because we make it that way.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
people make things
I
complicated.
would agree with that.
I
In
mean,
life is what you make it.
in a sense, if God gave us all free will, and if He thought maybe later on down the line that we were going to make some big bad choices, He's not going to banish us someplace. I mean, so if He thought we were going to make some bad choices, don't you think He would have put a limit on that free will? But He didn't. Why didn't He? Because if He put a limit on it, we wouldn't learn from it. Because life is not meant to be easy. If it was meant to be easy, what would be the point of living? If you were given everything in your lifetime, you wouldn't appreciate the things that you do have.
It's very true.
Well put. A couple questions out here. Anne Marie, we're going to get to that one.
Sorry,
You
Anne Marie,
mentioned
I'm
aliens,
still
which-
married.
We're we're definitely, so is Anne. I think she's okay. But
Yes.
Bob asked to further that question. So new spirits are often targeted by spirits that don't cross over.
What? What?
That- you
So
kinda-
are new spirits targeted by spirits that don't cross
target each
over?
other.
Well, no, Bob, because spirits that have crossed over and spirits that aren't crossed over are in two different realms. If you are a spirit who is has gone into the light, you cannot cross back over through that veil and go to an earthbound side. You are in the light, you stay in the light. Now, if you are an earthbound spirit, you can cross over any time that you want to, but you have to want to and have the will to do that. But they don't always do that. But can the two mix? No. Is there a battle going on in hell or in heaven? No. Are there angels? Do they have wings and shields and swords? No. Because, I mean, even if we went with the old teachings of, oh, there's a battle in heaven, why would there be a battle in heaven if all the bad ones went to hell? Hello?
Right.
Right.
No, so they don't mix. So the good ones have no ill will against bad ones. But you know why? Because good ones don't have ill will. The ill will ones are down here in the earthbound side.
Mm.
And I call it earthbound, but it's just another realm. That's all, because it's not all earth beings there.
The 3D matrix. Now, Anne Marie mentioned aliens, so I guess we'll get into a little of that. When we're talking about things like angels, and I know you said there are no demons, or just maybe more
Just
angels,
really negative energies. Yeah.
negative energies, that we might be talking about things we also recognize as aliens.
Correct.
So how does that work? Is it the alien abduction phenomena, right? It's a big topic on our show. We've talked to lots of abductees and about their experiences. Are they dealing with aliens, or are they dealing with something else?
Well, so everybody knows we were not born of Adam and Eve or Adam and Steve, whichever you prefer. We're born of them. I mean, you see all the pictures. You don't even have to read Bible or anything like that, but you see all the pictures that have been, scratched into stone from thousands and thousands of years ago, and you always see these pictures of alien vehicles because we come from them, and they come here to check on us to see how we're doing. You
Now,
ever
when
go
you
to the
say-
doctor? Let me
say
ask you
that-
this: you ever go to the doctors and get a checkup?
Yes.
Well, if you're born of them, what do you think they're doing? They want to check on us too.
Right, but to what end? To what purpose? Like, if we have a
Well,
little bit
for
of that
one end-
DNA that maybe helped us cross that barrier of threshold and becoming Homo sapiens,
Mm.
from not Homo sapiens, we'll
Yeah,
say.
we didn't come from
Denisovans,
we didn't come from gorillas. You know how I know that? Because
How?
gorillas are still gorillas.
Mm.
That's why we were born here as people. That's
Yeah,
what we
we
were born
had
as.
this conversation about fish. We had it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
the-
discussing
the
if we're
pyramids are not someplace to bury somebody. The pyramids are a
sand,
building of energy.
Yes, we agree.
why aren't there more,
Yeah.
in between creatures between fish
Yeah.
and people, right? There should be
It's weird.
some
Well,
fish
there
with like
are.
20 arms and
There are
Like
then.
missing link and stuff.
neat.
There are.
Well,
There's,
there is. You're looking at it up top of the screen. It's called Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
missing,
Yeah.
is it? You just
No.
can't catch him. But here's my question. Once you catch him, what are you going to do with him? Because if you're just going to poke and prod him and tear him apart, then don't catch him.
That's
You know,
right.
that guy right there, he is the original OG off-grid guy. Leave him alone.
right. I'm a little
Yeah.
envious of that.
Because what do they want to do? Harvest him for something?
No electric bill.
Right.
There. What's up, Grundle Cheese? Says hello, folks.
I love cheese.
Jeez,
Everybody loves cheese. Cheese is actually addictive, which
Yeah,
is
that's
strange.
right.
Joey had a question about
Yes.
CERN. Joey, and I think I went by it, but Joey Gross had asked about CERN in regards to ripples in time. And do you think that's a thing? Or
Well,
has
time is always fluid, so absolutely.
is time the same on the other side as it is here, or different?
No, time on the other side is much slower. I used to do a live show, a reading show, and let people come in and ask questions. And I had a woman come ask me one time. She said she wanted me to get some information about her sister. Now, I'm very blunt about what I do, and when I get answers, I sometimes tell people, don't ask questions you don't want answers to. And I just had to do this recently for a woman who called me up. And I said, do you want the answer to that? And she said, yes. And I said, your sister did not cross over. She's remained here as an earthbound spirit. But I'm getting because she had, she thought she had unfinished business. So, but I said to the girl, if you give me her name, I can call out to her and I'll see what's going on. And then I'll email you back. So she gave me her name. I called out to her. I got her. I said, what's going on? Why are you still here? And she said, I was trying to tell my sister before I left that I was cheating with her boyfriend. And I said, okay. And I said, well, that's no reason to stay here. And she said, well, I only died 2 days ago. I said, you died 20 years ago. And she was like, oh. And I said, yeah. I said, so it's time to cross over and go home. So I got her to do that. I emailed the girl back and told her about that situation. And she emailed me back. She said, yeah, I already knew that. I let that go years ago.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And
The-
out of
There's
body
no such
experiences,
thing as unfinished business.
there doesn't
If you
seem to
haven't-
be any kind of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
No, you're okay.
out of body experiences and astral projection, these sort of things, that time doesn't seem to really be there. Like you just kind of will wherever you
Right.
want to
In
be.
the
Everything
same
just-
way that when you're meditating, time isn't really there. You go in for 10 minutes, you
lose
come out
time.
2 hours later.
Yes, you can lose time.
Yeah.
That's loss of time. It's
Right.
a lot of things.
Abductees report that all the time.
Yeah, but when you are leaving your body, you're not astral projection. You're not actually totally, completely leaving your body, because if you did, the body would die. The soul is always tethered to the body, always. That's why when you have a dream at nighttime and somebody comes into your dream, oh, it's my mom or my dad, and I know they passed away. They have to actually be standing right next to you in order to connect with your soul to get into your dream. So if you actually want to see them again, wake yourself up. They'll be standing right there.
Grundle Cheese had an interesting comment. I put up there, I thought time on the other side is like past, present, and future going on at the same time. And that is something that's come up on the show before. It's
Sort
like
of,
everything all at once.
They don't worry about what's in the past, because the past is the past. They worry about what's going on right now and what's going on in the future for us. And they try to bring us messages here so that we can do something about what's coming in the future.
This is really good.
And it's the same with astral projection.
Yes.
So to continue, Joey said, do you think CERN has a project or wants to project us into another realm? I think is what
the
he
hell
means.
is CERN?
CERN is
Forgot the term.
I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but CERN is, they are doing the particle collider.
Yes.
They have that giant particle collider. It's underground, and they're discovering new particles.
Well, they have all kinds of technology under the ground that they're not telling us about. These black projects are having.
Oh gosh, we can't agree with you more. Oh yes, we know.
I live right next to that place. I live before I came out here to Arizona, I was doing channeling with the group. I eventually got with a group of women who are all mediums, and they helped me to develop this. But now they come to me for answers because they knew who I talked to, and so I was doing channel messages with them, and some people I'd never met before at these classes, and they all told me I was going to move out west. For like 4 years ago, they told me the messages kept coming through. And 4 years ago to move out west, and then a year before we left, we got a message that said it was going to be Arizona, and I said, "Where in Arizona?" And they said, "You'll know." And I was like, "What do you mean I'll know?" And they just said, "You'll know." So the next day I woke up and I told my wife, I said, "I need a map of Arizona. I'm going to show you where we're going to live." Now I get touched on my face for yes and no answers. This is yes. It's going to cross my forehead right here. And in the beginning, it was just two. This is a yes from Manos and Helen, and that's their names. Okay, and I know the names of all the archangels that are touching me. And the very beginning it was 2. Now it's 48. Another one just came in like 4 days ago.
Really?
And this is it's all day long. And this is no, so it feels like a tear running down my face. So I said, "Give me the map, honey. I'm going to show you where we live." And then she put it in front of me. I closed my eyes, took my finger, and pointed on places in the map. And I kept getting no. Yes, we're moving to Sierra Vista, Arizona. We put our house up for sale and bought a house in a week. And now here we are in Sierra Vista. You know what's here in Sierra Vista? The largest intelligence base in the entire United States.
Is that right?
It's like 3 blocks away from me.
Wow.
Do you know what they used to do?
Tunnels under you.
Yes. And do you know what they used to do there in the 1960s and 70s? Experiments on psychic mediums. They also do remote viewing there.
Yes.
Ah.
I talked to a guy online who actually worked there, who was a colonel, who directed the program for 12 years.
Excellent. Oh, we find that very fascinating. Remote viewing.
Well,
It's super interesting. It's
it
kind
hasn't
of
been
like
that great.
that gut instinct.
I'm being
kind of-
watched. I'm being followed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I've already caught them. I was out on my motorcycle, and I was riding around town, and I saw this white SUV behind me. And then I noticed they were following me, so I went through all the plazas in town. It's only a 4-mile square town, and then the rest of it just desert and mountains. It's beautiful here. And I went around all the plazas, and they followed me the entire time, up until I got on this road called Charleston Road that takes you to Tombstone. It's only one road in, one road out. And so I went on that road, and then I pulled over and got off my bike. And I keep a firearm on me because I can control the dead ones, not the live ones. And I got off my bike and started to pull my firearm, and they stopped and stared at me, and then they did a U-turn and left. They had on black suits and black hats. What do you think?
Really?
So like the Men in Black.
Correct. Yeah, I know they're watching me all the time. I'm actually able to remote view. I just don't have control over it. But when it does turn on, I see things, and I caught them watching me. So
Ingo Swann used to talk about that.
Yes.
Famous remote viewer
yeah,
when he was alive, and it's in one of the books that he wrote that I have read. He was talked about government agents often following him and kind of recruiting him into things, and he also talked about aliens, which
Yeah.
seemed a little off the wall, but he saw them.
I will tell you this: everything that you have ever seen in a movie, like a Star Trek movie or on TV,
Mhm.
we have that technology. They just don't put it out there because they want the power and control. They don't want us to have it.
Do you think the UAP phenomena that's going through Congress, that we see the Tic Tac videos of,
Oh, it's real.
and all of that
I live right next to the army base, and there's this place called the Huachuca Mountains. We see these things flying around all the time.
But do you think it's ours, or
is it
do you think it's from?
At this
Like
point, I'd say
military?
it's more ours than it is theirs, but it
Think
is
so,
theirs
too.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a combination of both, but a little bit more
Yeah.
ours than.
People in this town talk about it. They say, "Oh, we know there's UFOs buried under that place," but what are they going to do? This place is huge. Our that's my cat.
That's our,
Oh, I thought it was ours. I'm like, oh,
We
the
have
poor
one-
baby.
he's been
I
milling
have a
up.
cat that cries like a baby when I'm
Under
in
the
this room
table.
doing
Aw.
stuff. But,
Aw.
yeah,
Sorry.
we have 9 of them, so yeah.
Oh well.
But
My
yeah, we love cats. But or maybe it's something else I love. Anyway, so yeah, but yeah,
Are they shaved?
everything that you've seen in movies and stuff we have it, it's just not let out to the public. I mean, we could have had it, but they did away with that guy named Tesla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a
Super
very-
interesting guy there. Carol asked me to ask you this question. She said, I have some dreams that seem to be prophetic about the world. Could they possibly come true? So what is your thought on dream states and prophetic dreams?
It's not that she's having dreams. She's a man. The word just went right out of my head. Oh, she's clairvoyant.
Hmm.
She
Carol
just
is?
doesn't realize it.
Yes.
She's not only just clairvoyant, because she's going to tell you here, she's also an empath as well. She's going to tell you that in a minute. She's going to go, because what happens is she's that type of person. When she walks up to a building, she can feel all the negative energy that's in that building, and then when she goes in there, it's like walking into a smoky bar. And when she walks out, she feels it all over her. And then when she gets home, she just can't figure out why she's in the mood that she's in, and it's because she hasn't learned to ground or anything like that. But she's also an empath. She'll tell you that here in a minute. And how do I know that? Because I know who my people are.
Yeah, and I see some new people in our chat.
Yes.
That you may have.
Angelique, what a
started.
beautiful name.
That
Yeah,
is a
look at her
mess.
too. Not too shabby,
Yeah,
right?
she's very pretty.
Boom shakalaka.
Irene from Tokyo, from Japan.
Oh my gosh.
Hi from Anubis Paranormal.
You know what I love to do about the paranormal people? I always give them this hypothesis. It's a big word for me. I always tell them, the thing that you're hunting, one day you will become. And they just look at me.
Well, it's true.
We don't like
Yeah.
the hunting
we don't hunt.
part of it,
Right.
because we're not really hunting anything.
We research
Right.
a lot, and
A big-
Yeah, I don't hunt
Right.
them either. All I do is wake up.
right.
They're just everywhere because they are everywhere.
They are.
They
There's
are.
a lot more dead people than living people, and the simple math of that, if there's any good portion of them still here, would far outnumber us. No.
Well, as many people that cross over, there's that many who don't. So,
Why?
For that simple fact that they thought maybe they were a horrible person, or religion convinced them that they were going to go to hell, or something like that, and they were afraid to go in because they're afraid that you're going to go to those gates and be judged. No,
yes.
Yeah.
God doesn't judge us. We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does He need to do it once more? Because He just doesn't. God, is He a fearful God? Is He a merciful God? No. He's a loving God. He's your Father. Why would He want to punish you?
Is there a mother
He
involved?
gives you free will, so everything you do is by your own choice.
Right.
But He gave you the ability to have that choice. So if He gave it to you to do anything, then why is some of it bad? You just live in a world that has rules and laws. That's all. That's why
very
the real reason why Jesus Christ was here. He was a real person, but the difference is between Him and I. Nothing. I mean, except for he could perform miracles because his soul had only been here one time. Just like healers are here, but it takes them a long time to do it. He could do it instantaneously because he was in touch with his soul. That's all he was doing. But he was trying to teach us that we could do the same thing. But he was also trying to teach us that we could love each other and take care of each other and share everything in the world because there's enough of everything in the world to share. And we didn't have to live under power and control and the rule of this world. But the people who were in control and power saw that and they said, hey, this guy's taking our money. He's taking our taxes away. He's taking our power away. You know who these are, the kings and queens in religion, because that's who religion is. Religion doesn't want a second coming of Christ because they know that he would come back and take all their power away from them because they're lying pieces of shit. That's what they are.
Well,
So,
that's game over anyways, right? The second coming means,
absolutely.
hey, some of you are supposed
all
to go to here, and the rest of you, you're all screwed.
You're all screwed.
So
yeah.
there's no more church at that point.
Yeah, I mean, so they put
Or
him
till-
they put him on that cross. They tortured the shit out of him and murdered him in front of everybody to let everybody know if you do what he's doing, if you follow what he's doing and say what he's doing, then we're going to do this to you too. So in other words, he wasn't the first one to be on a cross and he wasn't the last one to be on a cross. So I always tell everybody, why would you want to wear a cross around your neck? It's a form of punishment. They just want to they don't want to remind you what Jesus did for you. He didn't do anything other than speak out against the ruling powers. What they want to do is they want to remind you of how much control and power they have over you.
Yeah, there's
That's why
definitely
they
some
want-
fear in that symbiology.
Right.
I would totally agree. I don't mean to offend any of our Christian audience, but
You
I
know
do.
what I always
think
say?
it is a
Here's
bit,
what I say, Chris. If I say something that's going to offend you, I don't give a shit because I know you'll walk away. I never have to deal with you ever again.
right. We got to be on next Thursday.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm just joking. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know,
you're welcome.
yeah, no worries. We're on board with it. Believe me.
Yeah.
Beat Boy says hello, and George Alexandra. That movie you posted.
Oh, my
I just got
God.
to tell you, the Bear Whiz beer. Wow, we had a good time watching that last night.
Last
so
night, yes.
Thanks for posting that.
Yes,
I know
thank
you
you.
know.
Bear,
we're
I've
talking
heard
about.
that somewhere. Bear with beer.
It's-
What is that?
We went into a deep rabbit hole dive with this, and it's actually it was made in '74. Was it a
It was a
record?
comedy troupe record,
Yeah.
and they made a movie around the record. I guess we had to research it because I hadn't heard of them. We weren't familiar with them. The name escapes me, but very funny stuff. Kind of Monty Python-esque.
Oh, I
but,
love that.
Yeah. I don't think they were British though. It was kind of like the
It was-
American version of Monty Python.
75 in politics, and I laughed my head off. Thank you, George. Everybody should go to, let's see, George's channel and go YouTube channel and go look at it. It's George.
Everyone should watch Mighty Python's Holy Grail. That's a fun
Well,
one.
that too. George Alexander.
The Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. We
So
Yeah,
rabbit.
when they see the rabbits and they're like, "Oh, look at that funny little
Run.
rabbit. Oh, Jesus Christ,
I
run
almost-
away!" So, yeah, it's the funniest part of the movie. Yeah.
It is, and I almost got a shirt for it. So because
Just
the
the
bunny.
bunny.
Awesome,
It's just the bunny.
awesome.
Anne Marie
I'd like to
wanted to know
witness that. That's for
if
sure.
you felt anything from Anne Marie
Thank
when we were like, in the way that we were talking about.
No, she doesn't have an ability. She would like to, but she doesn't. I just got when I asked about her, I just got touched. No. I get answers in that type of way, but the type of answers that I get are to help people to move forward in their lives, to get their lives back on track and to fulfilling their purpose. I'm not here to talk about your stupid idea of a soulmate or anything like that, because a soulmate's not what you think it is. It's not someone you're going to necessarily fall in love with. A soulmate is another soul that you were very friendly with, family, because we're all family back at home. You come here both at the same time and you meet up together. A soulmate could be your mom and dad, your brother, sister, best friend, or it could be a dog or a cat. Is it going to be someone who you fall in love with? I had a lady come to me one time on my show and she said, "Oh, I met my soulmate, Daniel." I said, "Yeah, let me know about that in a couple of years." And then when I finally heard back from her, she said, "Oh, that piece of shit, he was cheating on me." I said, "Yeah, soulmates don't do that, lady."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People are just they're unfortunately there's a lot of crappy mediums out there and you hear a lot of stuff from TV and movies. It's just not real. It just
It's
isn't.
not.
They
That's
do it to get customers. That's what they do.
Right.
They
And
make
you're-
movies to sell tickets to make money. That's what they do. The new Exorcist movie, you cannot be possessed by another soul. There's only room for one soul. They can influence you, they can talk to you, and they can tell you to go out and kill somebody, but you can also say no. But some people just go out and kill people.
Do you think they can have any influence on, say, your emotions?
Oh, the spirit? Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yep.
especially the
that's
negative
way
ones.
that
Because
is
if they see that you're having a bad day, or maybe you're somebody who's vulnerable because you're a drug addict or an alcoholic, they can feed on you right there and there and make you do things to do one thing. It's only to do one thing, to produce more negative energy for them to feed off of. That's all it's about.
Now, you start talking about feed off and negative energy. We talked a little bit about this before the show.
Sure.
You also talk about, thank you, Heidi Hollis, Hat Man, shadow
Hat Man.
people.
The Hat Man. When I first found out I was this, because I've seen spirit all my entire life, but never really put two and two together. And then there was a point where my wife went away on vacation for 2 weeks, and then I thought I saw everything in my house imaginable you could think of. Was in a scary movie for 2 weeks, and one of those things was the Hat Man. I went down in my basement to get one of my cats, and I saw him down there, and I said, "Hey, buddy, come on, it's time to come upstairs." And he looked at me. He looked to his right. I looked to my left to see what he was seeing, because, you always look. And when I did, I saw this wall of blackness appear, and then I saw this man walk out with a dark, wide-rim hat. I could see his facial features, his nose and his chin, but I couldn't see his eyes. And this long, looked like a coat. And then he was just walked out, was walking across the room. The strange part to me was he didn't have any feet. Perfect stride. And then he just walked across the room, and then he went to the corner room and went right through the wall, and that was it. I turned back and looked. When I did, that wall of blackness just went shut. And then I looked at my cat, and he looked at me like, "What the hell was that?"
Exactly.
I said, "Come on, buddy," and he ran up that steps. The Hat Man is an interdimensional being. He's here for one reason, because the people in his realm do not have a connection to spirit like we do. And he's coming here to, of course, seek out children, because when you come into this world, you just came from heaven, and you have this ability. But it does get washed away most of the time, because we teach them all the lies and deception in this world. But some of them keep it. So, and what he's doing, he's observing it, because he's looking for one thing. He's looking for the smoking gun. He's trying to figure out how we do it. You do it because it comes through with your soul. It's not passed down from another family member, because each individual person comes through here. Your mom and dad produce the body. They do not create the soul. And you come in here as a soul. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body, because the soul is the passenger and the body is the car in order for that soul to get around here. That's it. But we focus too much on the body. But he is coming here to see where he can find out something that he can take back, because he's being paid. That's why he has that long coat. It looks like a detective, because that's what he's doing. And he's trying to find out answers to take it back and give them answers. But he doesn't get any answers. I talk to him all the time.
Just
I wake up and there he is, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I said, "You're not going to get anything." And he says, "They keep paying me, so I keep coming."
He wants his people to be able to see other spirits,
to communicate with them. They don't do that there. They can't.
And that we have that gift, but
we do. It's not really a gift. It comes with your soul. Here's the thing. You don't go to school and become a medium. You don't get a piece of paper on a wall and become a medium. You don't take a class in intuition and become a medium. Anybody can use their intuition. Just most people don't listen. To have this, you either have it or you don't. And it's that simple.
So
because you can use your intuition doesn't mean you can use your intuition for someone else. Your intuition is yours for you.
Right.
That's it.
All right. Barbara Woodbury Spirit said, could you ask about me? Does he feel anything about Barbara?
Hold on. The reason Barbara is asking, because she sees things and hears things. Barbara is what I call 1 foot in and 1 foot out. She has had this throughout her life, and that's why she keeps asking about it. She hasn't done anything with it. That's all. She could do something with it. Well, she won't do anything with it. She's scared of it. She has too much fear of seeing spirit. She sees them, but for one to actually appear in front of her and start talking to her would scare the crap out of her. And you cannot have fear doing this. You cannot have any fear doing this. You have to realize what they are at that point, and you have to understand it, but you can't fear them. Because if they fear you fear them, they'll get to you. And she just doesn't do anything about it because I keep getting a no, because she has too much fear inside of her heart for it. But she does have it. That's why she sees the things out of her corner of her eyes all the time, and she sees things go past her. And so sometimes, I mean, for early on, she was blowing it off, but now it's become a little bit more prevalent. It's becoming prevalent because they want her to do something with it. But in order to do something with it, she has to get rid of that fear, and she has a hard problem getting rid of that fear. And that's why she hasn't moved forward with it. And I'm getting that she's not going to move forward with it. She's too scared.
All right. Well, it's pretty interesting. Beat Boy, you know, when we're talking about Hatman, he asked who the Hatman
He's
was.
just working for other beings in that other dimension. That's all.
What other beings, though? Archangels? What other beings?
No. Archangels are totally different. No, they are living in another place, just like we are living here.
Okay.
They're just able to travel through.
So who are the other beings?
Do they resemble Hatman?
When I see the Hat Man, he doesn't look human, that's for sure. He's got this green-looking face. It's kind of look like an alien with human clothes on. It's very strange to see.
He went on to ask, and this is a good question: Spirit people have currency. So because you
spirit
mentioned
people
he was
have
being
currency?
paid
No.
to come in.
No, the Hat Man is not in spirit. Hat Man is just in another dimension. He's just like we are, just in another place that has life.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
But spirit don't need money. They don't have money. When you have pure happiness, why would you need money?
Right.
Now we're getting a lot of this question.
Yes.
If you want to know what you think of the Maryland Bast?
Nothing.
No,
Next one. I get answers that fast. Not everybody has this. I know people would want to have this, but I'm telling you right now, please, if you're out there and you're watching me and you're listening to me, look me dead in the eyes. You want this because you want the cool fucking part of it. You don't want to see the shit that I see all day long. I'm telling you.
No.
I see negative energies doing horrible things all the time. I'm protected from negative energies. You may not be. You don't want this. I do get to help people, and I do enjoy doing that part. But you don't want the practice that it takes to be this. You don't have the determination to do this unless you really want to do it. Because you have it and you're having so much going on that you're really trying to figure it out. But the average person says, oh, I wish I had your gift. No, you want the cool part of my gift. You don't want to see all the negative energies that I see all day long. You don't want the guy who walked up to me and said, hey, how you doing? He goes, and I said, hey, buddy, whoa. And he came up to me and he had this big wound on his head. And then when he said, let me tell you how I passed away. And when he did that, I got a huge freaking migraine in my head. I could feel his wound. You don't want that. Do you want to feel the pain of a spirit when he walks up and puts it on you because he had a heart attack and he puts that on you? You don't want that.
What happens if our intuition, and a lot of us in here have intuition, we actually
Everybody
feel
has
that.
intuition.
Right, like you were saying earlier.
Intuition is here's intuition. You ready? You're driving down the street in your car and you see a car in front of you and you say, hey, I want to pass that car. And then you got a gut feeling that says, don't pass the car. Mm-hmm. That's your intuition. What is your intuition? It's your soul talking to you.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said intuition. I should have said, how about your sixth sense, where you use the feeling mechanism like an intuition in your body, and you can actually feel like a spirit standing next to you that has had head trauma, and you feel the head trauma. Whereas
that means you're this.
That means where what? Like
you are a medium, but most likely you're an untrained medium. You haven't learned how it's going to work for you and how it's going to work for you enough to get answers to other people. But you have to decide if that's what you want to do. You always have a choice. You can either do this or not do this. I do readings for a lot of mediums come to me because they are moving forward with this to the point that the way that I do it. And they have archangels with them. All mediums don't have archangels with them. They just don't. And they're not privy to that information. Most of them are circus acts and stuff like that. They're not privy. They can talk to your mom and dad. I don't talk to the mom and dads. I can get information about them, and sometimes they do come through. But I get information, everything from archangels, in order to fix this place. That's what I'm here to do. And these ones come to me, and every time they come to me, my archangels, because I call them that, why? Because I have all of them. Not just one of them, all of them. And there's thousands of them. And there's another reason for that as well. But, and I can explain all that too if you want. But they come to me because they want to move forward with this. So the archangels have me do what I call the big talk. I explain everything that has to take place in their lives in order to move forward this way, to have archangels with them to help them to do bigger things, to do big picture things. So I explain that to them. And in the past 2 years, I've done that for 28 people. 2 of them move forward. Because once I explain everything, they don't want to do it. Because it's not a 180. It's a 360. You have to change your life completely. Here's what happens to me. You ready? Here's the part that people don't want when I explain this. So in the very beginning, when I saw these archangels around me, in order for them to communicate, for me to be able to communicate, see them, hear them, feel them better, they work on me. They work on my soul. So I feel them at nighttime, and they're touching me, and they're little cold touches all over my body. They're working on my soul so I can communicate with them better, to clear me out. And when I say clear out, I'm not joking. After that, I wake up, and then it's coming out of both ends. I'm shitting and throwing up at the same time for 3 days straight. Okay? And then I finally get over that. And then 2 weeks later, they come back, and they do it again, and then it happens again. It happens twice a month for me for 3 years.
Yikes.
That's what you're at. That's what you're saying yes to when you do what I do. Other mediums, not so much. But me and what I do with archangels, yes. So I tell this to these other people. When I start telling them that and all the other things that happens for them in order to do what I do, they don't do it.
That sounds like you're having a different experience. I mean, some of the people you mentioned there are mediums.
I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I don't have tattoos because Spirit says no. In order for me to have clear messages, I must be clear.
Wow.
What is the big message that you need to?
The big message is why we're here and what our purpose is. To help each other people, to get this place back on track. To get it where Jesus was trying to bring us to. That kind of big.
Huh.
To change this world. The end of my book doesn't say the end. It says 2332. That's the end.
2232. And
The year 2332.
that's
We were already on another place. You've heard of it. It's called Mars. Well, now we're here. This place is coming to an end, and we're going to start again. They just did a scientific thing over there in Mars where they got the dirt and they analyzed it, and they found it had an element in there. It was only caused by one thing: nuclear explosion.
You're right. We've read about that actually.
Yeah.
I think
So what
that's
do you
pretty
think we're doing here? We point rockets at each other.
very much a possibility. There was a time
Well, it's
Mars
a possibility because we have nuclear plants.
same kind of atmosphere as we have here on Earth.
If you were to extinct people around here in different places, and you dropped bombs here and killed everybody, who's going to run the nuclear plant? When it shuts down and overloads, what do you think is going to happen?
AI is going to take over.
No. AI is going to melt, just like the rest of us.
We're going to rise from our graves.
Thank you. That's what I was just responding to.
Yeah. So that's the kind of big picture I'm here to do, is try to help to change this place, change this world. I'm not here to talk about your mom and dad and, oh, let me get that secret special message. Oh, we're hiding the money behind the walls. That's what Spirit's telling you. No, they're not, because they don't care about money. We had a problem with my wife's mom's will. And I called out to her mom to get her opinion on it. You know what she told me? I don't care. Because they don't care. So all the ones that are on TV saying, "Oh, we're gonna get you big money, and all, we're gonna find all wonderful things and wonderful messages from the other side." The message is they want you to learn, they want you to get your purpose fulfilled, and come home and stay home. That's what they want. That's what God wants. He wants us to figure it out. There's a term that says God bless you. He did. He blessed you once. He put you here. He wants us to figure out the rest. Praying is not for asking for more than you're supposed to have. Praying is for giving thanks for what you do have. Why is that? How do we know that? Because you got two football teams praying to win the game and only one wins. So did the other guys not get their prayers answered? No. We just make the rules here. People
Linda
are
had a
just
question for you. She
idiots.
says, does he think we know when our time in this physical form is ending and we get signs to prepare?
Correct. When my mother died, my sister called me up because she knows I'm this, and she said, I think Mom's going. She's like, she can't speak anymore, but she's staring up at the ceiling and looks like she's talking to people. I said, she's seeing people that you wish you could.
Wow.
They were telling her it's time to go. She did
It is
an
like
hour later.
other spirits come in, don't they? Like a
They do.
family sort of
But
thing.
not all of them do come in. Sometimes they wake up out of their body and they get lost, and a lot of them remain here earthbound because they're lost. I see deer and cows walking around grazing because that's what they used to do when they were alive. They are still doing it because they are still themselves. It's pretty
Interesting.
simple. Not
Yeah.
everything there, not everything on the earthbound side is horrible and negative. I mean, we know that because we go to haunted
have a lot of
houses
love,
and stuff
joy,
like that.
and
We see spirit and stuff like that.
happiness.
I mean, like I said, I live near Tombstone. Come on.
Right?
Yes. Right.
But every place is haunted. You can find spirit in Walmart. As I tell people, some spirit want to be seen. Most of them don't, because now they're living life that's uninterrupted. And I don't read books. I don't watch movies. I don't watch other mediums. I don't do anything. I get all my answers from archangels. Everything.
Is karma a real thing?
Yes.
Or
It is.
is it really just
If you put negative energy out, you're getting it back. If you're going to be a piece of shit to someone else and then wonder why you have a flat tire every day this week, think again.
so the universe does respond?
Absolutely. Because you're here to learn. Try to figure it out. Get it correct. What's this one?
Bob asked in
In
2012,
2012. Yeah, I watched that movie 2012. Stupid as shit.
I had a major heart attack and was in a coma for a bit. After I woke, I feel a bit more emotional toward people, media, etc. Is this my imagination or something from dying that did this to me?
You didn't die. Dead people don't tell stories. Dead people don't come back and tell stories. I know that there's all the NDE people. They had an experience to get a message. You don't actually die. If you were dead, you would not be here telling me a story. There's two things. You either die or you don't die. That's it. No one dies too soon. No one dies too young. No one dies unexpectedly, and no one dies tragically. Everyone just dies. Everything else is just a facilitation in order to die. You had an experience, and now you feel like, I don't want to be the person I was. Because it brought fear into your heart of what happened. So you decided to change yourself. You feel differently when you come out. Simple.
So the experience may have just changed him.
Hell yeah.
It
Getting
was
5 car accidents in a row, you think it won't change you?
Sure.
It's very simple. People just don't pay attention to it.
Linda asked, do most spirits want to move on, or are they happy staying earthbound?
Some of them are happy staying earthbound, but the only thing about staying earthbound is when you die, if you die to 80 years old, you'll remain there 80 forever. That's it. You just, whatever age you die, that's what you'll remember. You'll remain as. As we know, we see spirits of children all the times, and dogs and cats and horses and cows and all that stuff. You just remain that age forever. I had a girl back in Delaware. She used to walk around my house, and I rolled over in bed one time to see what time it was because I didn't like to be late to work. When I rolled over, she was there. She had blonde hair, blue eyes, wore a blue and white dress, little socks, white socks, and black shoes, and her name was Wendy, and she's 8 years old, and she's still back there too. She didn't come with me, but I do have another one that come with me named Mary. She looks like Betty Boop. It's kind of strange, but But she doesn't. She has all the memories of her lifetime plus all the memories of all her other lifetimes. You will, and then you'll know that you've been here a bunch of times, and you'll also know if you walk into that light, there's a possibility you might have to come back, and maybe they don't want to, so they stay here.
Interesting.
Mm.
Just to kind of circle back on some of that.
I mean, Chris, you've been here 27 times, and Kristen's been here 28 times. So when you
Okay.
stand up at
No way, because everybody says he's the older soul and I'm new.
no, do you know who the oldest soul is? Everyone's an old soul because you come back here many, many times.
So reincarnation, yes.
Well, you're just coming back because no one lives to be 150 years old. Besides, at that point, it's going to hurt to pee. Who wants to be here for that? So, but you come back because they know that they can bring you back and do this all over again because you didn't get it right the first time. That's all it is. It's not punishment. You're just coming back to fulfill a purpose. When you leave here, you don't, and you go there. You're not you as you are now. You're a bright, white, loving soul who is positive and loves everything and everyone. You don't have pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt. You don't have grudges and all that stuff. You don't have any of that stuff. There's a lot of these. Again, there's a lot of these other people out there. Oh, I can help heal all your trauma from past lives. That's bullshit. Because when you cross over into the light, it gets washed away from you. You don't bring it back when you come into a new body because you're doing a new experience in a new body. You have the experience of everything you went through, but the trauma is gone. You're just having memories of the experience, but they equate that as being trauma. It's not. It's just a memory. That's all it is. There's so much crap out there.
What do you feel from us?
Well, like I said, I mean, 27 to 28. So when you step out of your body, Chris, you're going to have the memories of your lifetime here, plus the other memories of your other 26 lifetimes. So what's that mean? You've had 26 other moms and dads, brothers and sisters, dogs and cats. Oh, and you've had 26 other astrological signs. I mean, absolutely horseshit, because your body's born under stars. Your soul is not. Your soul was created. And your body's not really born under the stars because astrology is bullshit. Because this is astrology. You ready? Two people standing around looking up at the stars going, hey, if I play connected dots, it's a fish. That's what that is. Now, if you were born on Pluto and you stood on the other side of Pluto, would you see the same frickin' stars? No, you would not.
No, all of them, no.
Right. So, and they only equate it to 12. Okay, the original calendar was 5 months long. Then it was 9, then it was 10, then it was 12. So that means they started out with 5 signs, then they added 4 more, they added 1 more, and then they added 2 more after that. So what does it mean? It's bullshit. Don't look at that little newspaper article on the Sunday news and go, oh, this is what my today is going to be. No, it's not. It's going to be your body, your soul, everything about you is going to be defined by the choices that you make. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Kristen, answer me this one. So
Yes.
if I met you in person
Yes.
and we sat down and had coffee and we talked for maybe 2-3 hours, and then 20 years later, I write the book of Kristen, okay? Do you think that book is going to define everything about you in those 2 or
Not
3
at all.
hours? Good.
Nope.
Well, neither is the Bible, so let it go, people. It's not about God. It's about power and control over you. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, and
You're welcome.
no, I understand. It's
Echo Leaf asked.
Was
Yeah.
Jesus an archangel? No.
he was a human being.
Right. He was a human
Yeah.
being as a
magician?
representation of God, as we are representations of God as well. We just haven't figured that out. Because he's a child of God, as we are all children of God. Jesus is either your brother or, you're a sister to him. That's it. He's not divine. We're the only divine. We are all divine. But you come into a world that has rules and laws that tells you not. I mean, come on. They took 15 years of his life out of the Bible. Why? Because they didn't want to show you that Jesus was out partying and having sex. That's why.
Then you go into the Mary Magdalene and
Yeah.
That was his
Right,
wife.
was first recognized as a magician,
Yeah, that was his wife.
not like a pull a rabbit out of a hat.
or
Yeah,
Park.
absolutely.
Again,
Yeah, no, he could do the things he was doing, but that's because his soul had only been here one time, so he could do that. We could all do that. We can all learn to do that, but we think it's more important to have 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats and go on vacations all the time and then go into debt and then come out of debt because we'll save you and then go back into debt again. Or we worry about depression and all this crap. Here's depression. You ready? It's you holding on to these suppressive thoughts. And you could do one of 2 things. You can go to a doctor and he give you a bunch of medication who can suppress that for you, which is still stuck in you because he doesn't want to heal you. I don't care what they say because they can't heal you because maybe they can heal your broken bones, but they can't keep your soul from going home. And then here's the other part. He can send you to another doctor who can talk you down from it. You know what you could do? You could talk yourself down from it. Let it go. It's not important. Everyone else in the world wants you to hold on to that because they want you to remain a victim, so you'll keep paying into the system. Stop. Here's a perfect example. Chris, if I found out you were an alcoholic, not that you are, but if I found out you were an alcoholic and we were best buddies, I'd say, Chris, you know what? I'll take you to meetings. I'll take you to AA. I'll keep you away from drugs and alcohol. I'll keep you away from all the bars. But, I get it. Who doesn't like a good strip club? I get it. But anyway, I'll keep you away from all that stuff. But until you choose to stop drinking, no matter what I say or do, isn't going to make a difference. So everything you do in your life is your choice. You just have to make the choice to change it.
Right. That
We
is
agree
true.
with that. Yes.
Right. So if you want to stop being depressed, stop.
People just have to fulfill their choices, right? So if
Right.
you say,
They don't want to let go of the past,
Hmm.
Let me
You
ask
think
you, Kristen, if you wanted to go get a job and say that you put on your job application, oh, I got all these qualifications, you put it on there, and they go, wow, you have all the perfect qualifications, Kristen. This is great. Oh, but wait a minute, we just found something. We found out when you were 7 years old, you took a stick and you stuck it in some dog shit, and then you pointed at everybody and said, oh, here's dog shit. we can't give you the job because you did that when you were 7. And you're like, well, I'm not 7 anymore. I don't want anybody to judge me from I'm not 7 anymore. I've grown past that. I make different decisions now. I do better than that now. So don't judge me on my past. Everyone wants their past to be out of their lives for certain reasons. And then other certain reasons they want it to stay. Let it go. Move forward. I don't have to be an alcoholic because my mom and dad were alcoholic. I can choose not to. But people can't see that. They want to blame everything because they want to be a victim of everything. Let it go. And once you learn to let it go, you won't have to pay into the system for everything like they want you to.
So do you give readings professionally? Is that
I
something?
do. After all that, I do. Yes, I do. I do. I'm actually doing a psychic arts fair on Saturday. This coming Saturday. I did one. I do it every 2 months. It's up in Tucson, Arizona. It's like 70 miles from my house, but it takes about only an hour to get there because the highway is 75 miles an hour. So,
Nice.
But, the last time we did it, I do 20-minute readings, and I did 18 readings in a row. So, and the way that I do that is I have them sit in front of me. I don't want them to tell me anything. I have them sit across from me, and I tell them to hold my hand so I can take a look and see what's around them. And most of the time, I see the spirit around them, or I see spirit animals. And when I see the spirit animal will tell me what's going on with that person. Because that's why we have a lot of spirit animals, but we have spirit animals who are protecting us. But what they are protecting us from is ourselves, because we created the world that is around us. So they show me what's going on with that person, and then I tell them about it, and then they go, oh, yeah, and then we move on from there.
So you believe in manifestation, that people
No.
create the lives that they want?
No, you only you don't manifest anything. What you do is make a choice. You make a choice to make a decision in your life to do something or not do something. And if you do something and you go, let me change let me talk myself out of it, and then a lot of good things aren't happening to you, you made the choice for that to not happen. But if you stay on the correct path and start making those choices, you'll see a lot more better things will start happening to you. So it's not actually manifestation. You're just making a choice to follow the correct path. Just like
The
winning the
correct path.
lottery. Winning the
For that.
lottery is not important. The important part of winning the lottery is not winning the money. It's what you do with it. Now, if you get $1 million, if you take some of that money and help other people with it and really help them, then it's okay. But if you're spending it all on yourself, well, just guess who's coming back again to do this all over again?
Yeah.
You are.
Buy another ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, people
Right.
need to let go
Most
of
lottery
the
winners
crap.
lose
you
all
know?
that money, I think, within 5 years.
Yeah.
For the most part, which I find astounding. We're
Yeah.
talking about $10 million or more. Like, how do you just lose that?
Because
People do.
they're not responsible people. They don't do good things. Oh, I'm going to pay all my bills. I'm going to go on vacations. I'm going to buy 20 cars, and then they can't afford the insurance for 20 cars, and then they put themselves in a higher tax bracket.
They put themselves in debt
Yes.
with the higher tax bracket.
I
Yes.
can't get the money out of the bank fast enough, so let me go get a loan, and I'll pay you back once I get the money out. And then,
Mm.
yeah,
It's
they're
a
just
fun system, isn't it now? Nifty.
yeah, they don't pay attention. That's all.
They don't care.
No,
Nobody
they don't care.
seems to care about
That's the
us.
problem. They don't
Yeah.
care about anybody else, and they don't care about themselves. And why do you think you keep coming back over and over and over again?
Hmm. They kinda
As I always tell people, I don't make the rules. I just explain them.
Hi, Brenda.
Brenda says hello, and
But you will stand up out of your body, and you will see that light, and and that's another choice you have to either walk into that light or not. But that's your personal light. Everyone gets a personal light, but there's always one other light that all spirit can see. We call that the light into heaven, and that's what all the other spirit can see, and they can cross over anytime they want to. And that actual light is an actual soul living here on Earth. That one is the oldest soul. It has been here the longest in order to be that light. It volunteered to do that. It was an archangel, and that archangel came here as a soul to come into a body. And then each time, so like when you leave, Chris or Kristen, when you leave your body, you'll stand up and get out of your body and go, I don't need that anymore. You'll take a step to the left, look to the right, that light turns on. You either walk in or you don't. You go in, you go home. This soul does not go home. This soul, after that body expires, another body is automatically born, so it can still continuously be here, and it goes into the next body. And then it just continues down that path forever and ever and ever.
Circle
been.
around over and over. and
Yes,
over.
it just stays here, so so that light can always shine because this soul's light is super duper bright. It is a portal for all souls. So all souls that come into this world come through that energy. All souls that go home come through that energy. Anything that comes here to visit comes through that energy. It is that continuously light energy here all the time. And then spirit can also hear it as well, because with us being walking around, they hear us. And there's 7.5 billion of us, so eventually it becomes like static, like when we were kids watching TV and that snow comes on at 3 o'clock in the morning. It sounds like that. And they can tune that out because they are pure energy. They can manipulate themselves to do that. But this one soul, they cannot tune that out because they have to be able to hear it, and they have to be able to see it, to know where to go home at any time if they want to go home. And that soul is me.
So our friend Bob Burnell wants to know: are bodies born with no soul?
No.
Or any?
Yeah, well, yes, they are. You know what the answer to that is? Stillborn baby. Because without the soul, the body doesn't work. It's like a radio and a battery. If you take the battery out, the radio doesn't work. If you don't have a soul in the body does not work. Everything about you is the soul. You are a soul. You don't have one. You are one. So everything that makes up you is the soul. And without the soul, that body doesn't work. That's why people die.
how does that happen? Does the soul get taken from the body?
No, the soul
part of
leaves.
the genesis of the embryo.
No, the soul does not come into the body until the body's actually being born. It's not sitting in his mommy's tummy. And when the soul comes in and sees that that body's about to not make it, it will leave, and then you have a stillborn child.
Because the baby's
pretty
clearly
simple.
alive and it's moving and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It responds to things, right?
Sort of.
Before pre-birth, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, it responds to things because it has an umbilical cord and is part of that entity.
Nervous system.
Yeah.
that's
Everything.
kind of where I get hung on some of that stuff. Because I'm
Absolutely.
like,
Nervous system.
oh, alive, like, where do you
everything.
draw the
Because
line?
when you kill something, it eventually does die, but you see the body flopping all around. It's the nervous system just doing that. It's yeah.
Wow, fascinating. So
But, yeah.
reincarnation, you were saying, was there were two functions, right? One was to learn the lesson, why you keep coming back,
Right.
because you don't do it the right way.
Yeah, here's a
And
lesson.
obviously
If I pick up this towel and I put it down, that's a lesson. If I pick it up and drop it, well, how do I learn that lesson? I'll grab it a little bit tighter so I don't drop it. And that's a lesson. There's no good lesson or a bad lesson. There's also no wrong, no right, no epic failures, and no mistakes. There's only two things in this world: what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, you ready for this hypothesis? Quit doing it. It's that simple. If you walk through a door and there's a nail on the floor and you trip over the nail, how do you learn that lesson? You go get a hammer and bang it in. But most people don't. They trip over it 4 or 5 times. Why? Because they're just not good at learning. That's what
Right. Right.
Well,
People,
they-
we're creatures
I
of
worked,
habit.
I
Right.
worked
Yeah.
around those people. I worked in prison for 6 years doing medical records. I worked around those people who don't learn. They're called inmates. You know how they don't learn? Because they haven't figured out that they're not good criminals.
Yeah. Right.
It's
It's a good
simple.
point.
That
It's a good
makes
point.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prisons are full of repeat
I,
offenders.
I saw two guys standing in front of my doorway, and so I said to them, I walk up and one guy's going, man, when I see that guy in pod 8, I'm going to kick his ass. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, I work here. You're not supposed to say that shit in front of me. I got to report it. I said, why are you going to kick his ass anyway? He said, well, he ratted me out for these 2 robberies that I did. I said, did you do the robberies? He said, yeah. I said,
Breaking the law.
why are you going to rat him out for something you already did?
Exactly.
And he said, well, since you put it that way, I said, I didn't put it that way. It is that way. You just can't figure that out. I said, I wish you would figure it out because I read your files because I do records, and your kids would like you to be home. But you choose to do stupid shit. I said, here's another hypothesis for you. I said, when you're home,
That's kind of
when
a
you're not,
cutting
when
to
you're
the
not in
quick, right?
jail, do you stand out in front of your doorway and sit there and talk and do nothing? He said, no. I said, good, get the hell out of my door.
There you go. There
They
you
just
go.
don't get it. One guy told me in there, he said, I'm not even supposed to be in here, Mr. Dan. I said, why not? He said, it's all my parole officer's fault. I said, why is it his fault? He said, well, I did a dirty urine. I said, okay. He said, well, he turned me in. I said, it's his job to turn you in because that's what his job is, to make sure that you stay on the straight and narrow. And he said the same thing. Well, since you put it that way, I said, I'm not putting it that way. It is that way, you idiot. They just don't get it. People just don't.
Carol had a couple of good,
Yes.
insightful questions here. What happens to a spirit when somebody commits suicide?
Suicide. Here we go. You ready?
Really?
Kristen,
Little guys.
when you were a child, and if you're out playing and your father said, Kristen, it's time to come home, what did you do?
I got upset, but went home anyway.
Right. Okay. Well, when your soul gets called home to heaven from God, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to go home. But if it's in a body that's working perfectly fine, well, it's going to go, okay, I'm going to make this body really sad and really upset and stuff like that because I got to get out of here. And that's what it does. And then it commits suicide. That's what we call it. But here's another version of that. You wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go to the mall today, and you get in your car and you go to the mall, and you just about to get there and you get in a car wreck and boom, and then you die.
I was going to say heart attack.
Right.
That's
Same
all.
thing.
Heart
It's
attack.
all the same thing because the soul is time to go home. But
So
here
you're-
as people, we want to blame everything on everything. So we have to. Do you ever notice that on the news or you watch MSN? It comes up, oh, this person died, and the reason for it, it's a tragic thing. They want you to feel horrible or feel fear of death all the time. All that
Yes.
stuff. It's a
Fear-mongering.
tragic thing. Oh, it turns out that he just had a heart attack. Do you know what
Right.
he actually did? He died.
Right.
You know what they do? They just die. And then they go home. Why is going home such a tragic thing? Why?
Perspective,
You don't
right?
pay any bills. You don't sleep, eat, breathe. You have a wonderful life. Why is that so tragic? Do you know why it's tragic? Because they can't make money at funeral homes if you don't have a tragic death. That's why.
That's terrible.
Oh, I've had them for a
But
long
it's the
time.
truth.
That's awful.
Ancient
It's the
Egyptians
truth.
had a kind of like, paid a cross system going on. People don't realize that.
Right. It's all about money. It's all about control. It's all about power.
Afterlife.
We've
people
always
who make
had a
money-
1%.
Yes, the people
Right.
who make money off your death are the people who own the funeral homes and who own the graveyards. You know what a graveyard is? It's a rock garden because spirits don't hang out there. Do you hang out? Do you want to hang out in a graveyard all day long?
What if
No.
they're
And
stuck?
Stuck? They're only stuck because they chose to be where they are. If they want to move and cross over, they can. That light is always there because I'm always here. But eventually, that's not coming. because
Carol
I'm-
asked, is that the
once I get down
same
here, I'm
for a
done.
miscarriage as well?
Same thing.
When we're talking about the
Stillbirth.
stuff.
Because if the soul is not meant to be born, it won't be. It's that simple. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I just
Right.
explain
This
them.
is what you've observed. This is your perceptions, and
Yeah.
how
Well,
you-
it's not
how you-
perception. This is what archangels tell me.
Right.
If the soul is not meant to be born, It won't be. Just in the same way where somebody tries and tries and tries and tries, and they can't have kids because they try to do in vitro and they try and try and try. If the soul is not meant to be born, it won't be. But the system wants you to just keep trying. Why? Because it costs $25,000 every time you do. That's why. That's all it comes down to.
Corporate money. Yes.
Greg Koss, our buddy, says
Twin
what
Towers.
happened-
The Twin Towers happened because it was spiritually induced. Why? Because what happened after the Twin Towers? Everyone started being nice to each other.
Everybody started to come together. And
Right.
yes.
And then what happened after that? Then the blame game came back in again. Same thing with COVID. That was spiritually induced in order to, because here's the thing. Oh, everyone's going to die. All these people are going to die. I don't care if you fall off the top of a building, get hit by a car, get COVID, or even suicide. When it's your time to go, it just is. And everyone does die. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So you're going to die anyway. It just depends when. And when you're meant to die. Those people died because they were just meant to. That's it. And we were meant to
We
learn a
all
lesson from it, but we don't learn lessons very well. Look at Hitler.
You know, we
And then
don't
look
live
at Hussein.
forever, right?
And then
Nobody
look at
lives
Putin.
forever.
Look at all these other leaders. Have we learned anything yet? Nope.
It's our flag. Look at Armenia. Look at everywhere. Yeah.
Correct. So look out in the world and how well do you think we're doing?
We're not. None of us.
Correct.
None of
And
us.
that's why this place is coming to an end, and we'll have to start over again.
And you're saying you said 27, 25?
2332.
23, 32.
Because the title of my book, what's the title of my book, Chris?
Oh, yes. We need to bring that up. Thank you. We were
Awakening a meeting. It's right behind you there.
Yep.
The
It
new
says-
beginning.
Stop right there then. The new beginning. The new beginning is not about me. It's about everyone else. So if you take 2332, okay, and you cut that in half, you got 23. You add 2 plus 3 together, and what's that make? 5. And then you take the 32 and you add that together. 3 plus 2 is what? 5.
Five.
And you add that 5 and 5 together, and what's that make? 10. And if you take the 10 and you turn it around, what's that make? 0, 1. So when this place comes to an end, a new place will start. I didn't make that up. I didn't even name the name of my book.
Who
They
did
named
they?
it.
The Archangels. They're like
They
your
named it.
muses.
Do you feel like
When
we should
I do
channel-
everything by them. So when I take my medications in the morning, I look at my medication because I'm diabetic. I look at it, and and they touch me, no, I put that medication down. I pick up another one, no, I put that one down. I pick up another one, yes, I take it. That's what I do every single day. If you could all do that, if we could all do that, this place would be a much better place.
It would.
I ride my motorcycle and I see them next to me. It looks like if you ever see somebody smoking a cigarette, little petals come off. That's what I see next to me all day long. So I see right now.
Probably
But
see
it's
that
a
right
little bit
now.
different now.
Yeah,
It's
that's
dark in
okay.
here.
It's nicotine.
That's nicotine.
Awesome.
But
When I ride down the road and I say in my mind, I got to take this right-hand turn. I get no. I go, oh, you don't want me to take that one? No. Want me to take the next one? Yes. That's what I do. You know what's going to happen at the other one? I don't give a shit. You know what the problem is in this world? People go, oh, I wonder what would happen. I got to find out. Blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. Just do what's in the best interest of you and do that. And stop worrying about all the what ifs or could ifs or possibilities. Do what's best for you. That's what you follow. And they tell me everything. They have told me 5 years ago that if I listen to what they say, trust it, and follow through with it, I'll never get into another car accident again. And I haven't.
knock on wood, please.
Yeah, that's
Knock on
good.
wood, she said. Yeah, there's no such thing as luck. Let it go, man.
No, let it go, man.
Yeah, it happens because it's
it, let it
supposed
go,
to.
yeah.
That's it. That's why I say it just happens when it's supposed to. If you win the lottery, it's because you're meant to win the lottery. That's it. You're not manifesting it. It's just meant to because you're making the correct decisions in your life to get where you need to be for those things to happen. That's all it's about. I mean, my wife and I, we were out thrifting one day. And because we follow through with everything, we were out thrifting, and she found a bicycle. And she said, I want to buy this bike. I said, I'll buy a bike too. We'll start riding bikes together. And so I look it up. I said, I want a blue bike. I only want a $50 bike. And she said, all right. So I look up on Walmart. And I said, they have a blue bike there. It's $50. But they had this other, yeah, I love Walmart. It's my second home. And they had this other bike there that had like 8 hangers on it, looked like a motorcycle, cool looking wheels. And but it was $250. And I was like, oh, screw that. So my wife and I, we go the next day, take $200 out. We get $100 in groceries, which ain't much. And we go and we leave and we go down to the bikes. No blue bike. And I'm like, fuck, man, what's going on here? So let's leave. We go visit my mom. Then we'll go to the next Walmart. We see my mom. We go to the next Walmart. My wife looks it up. There's a blue bike here. We go in. There's no blue bike. The tag for the blue bike is on a red bike. And I said to my wife, you know what? Let's just go home. I'm tired of this crap. She said, you know how you get when you say you get those feelings, follow it. I said, yeah, why? She said, I have a feeling we have to go to the next one. I said, okay. That's it. We're going to that one. That's it. We go to the next one. We walk in. I'm walking down the aisleway. And there it is. There's the cool bike sitting there with the big 8 hangers in the middle of the aisle, not even close to the bike. So I run down there, but not really because I'm old as shit. So I hobble down there. And I get on the bike and I start riding it around and stuff. And my wife says, do you want the bike? I said, yeah. She said, we'll just pay it on the credit card. I said, all right. So we bring it up to the register and the lady says, where's the tag? I said, I don't know. There was no tag on it. She said, well, we'll check it out, see if there's anything wrong with it, and we'll let you know. I said, okay. She said, you got to get a helmet? I was like, oh, I guess so. I said to my wife, let's go get a helmet. She said, what kind you want? I said, you know, something cool with like little spikes on it. Look like I have a mohawk. That would be cool. Yeah, so she says, you mean like this? And I was like, oh, that's red. Do they have like a blue one or a black one? She said, there's a black one right here. It's a large. It's got little skulls on it. I was like, cool, you know. So we bring it up to register, $25. In Delaware, there's no state tax, you know, no sales tax. So and then the lady comes up. She goes, okay, I'm going to hit this with the price gun. She hits it and goes, ding. She looks at me and she goes, that'll be $49, sir. And I said, what? She said, it'll be $49. And I looked at her and I looked at my wife. I'm like, what's going on? What do you mean it's $49? What? And she says, do you want the bike, sir, or not? I couldn't get that money out because I had the money in my pocket, $100. I couldn't get it out of my pocket fast enough. I give her the money. She gives me the receipt. She says, have a great day. I'm trying to get out of the store, and people coming up to me going, hey, that's a cool bike. I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out of my way.
Get out of my way. I'll run you over.
Ripping them off. I think I'm ripping them off. It's like the IKEA commercial, you know, start the car, you know.
Start the car.
I'm trying to get out of the store, and she's like, come on, let's get out of here. We get out to the car. She opens up the door. I can't get the bike in. I said, come on, help me before they come out here. You know, we get the bike in the car. We get home, speeding home. I look it up, that store, and they had one in stock, and the price was $250. But I got it for $49.99.
Nice.
Had we not listened to what that feeling told us, that gut feeling, our intuition, our soul talking to us,
yes,
that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think
Another story,
like
another quick story. I had a Chevy HHR, and I was driving. I was going to sell it, but I was being lazy as shit. So, because, you know, that's what people are. And I was coming home, and I stopped at this light, and there was another Chevy HHR across from me. I made my right-hand turn, and when I went across this bridge, this small little bridge, and then another one passed me. And then when I made the turn onto my road, which was like 200 feet away, another one was right there. So I said, shit, this is a sign. Let me go back to Walmart. I go to Walmart because I was already there because, you know, it's my home. And I get one of those pens to write on the window, and I come back. I'm washing my car. My neighbor comes over. Hey, what are you doing, Dan? Selling the car. Really? How much you want for it? $3,000. He goes, that's a good price. I might take you up on that. Another neighbor comes over. Hey, what are you doing, Dan? I'm selling my car. How much you want for it? $3,000. That's a good price, man. And start talking to me about cars, and he leaves. Then this guy comes up in a truck, and he says, hey, you got that car for sale? I said, yeah. I said, you live around here? He says, no. Where are you from? Pennsylvania. What are you doing down here? Just riding around, taking a look. What? Okay. So he takes my number. He leaves. Another guy shows up. Selling that car? Yeah. How much you want for it? $3,000. You from around here? No, from Virginia. What are you doing here? Just kind of cruising around. Takes my number and leaves. 2 days later, his mother calls me up. 3 days later, he buys the car. Had I not paid attention, I would have went into the house and ate a bag of chips and watched TV. But I didn't. I
Right.
put my car up for sale, and 2 people came up and wanted to buy my car, and one of them did.
Right. So
When
that's
you listen to the
interesting.
signs.
This is like manifestation, but you weren't really into the manifestation aspect.
Right. I was just listening to what they were telling me, trusting it, and following through with it. And that's what you do. And when you do that, when you get those gut feelings inside of you to do this or do that, do that. When you talk yourself in and out of things all the time, you're talking yourself out of decisions and you're talking yourself out of answers that you're getting from a perfect place. Why would you do that? I'll tell you why. Because the world has taught you not to have any trust and any faith within yourself because they want you to believe that only they can help you. Only religion can help you. But you can help yourself. But you have to learn to listen, learn to trust, and learn to follow through. And everyone can do that. Everyone. But we don't. Because they tell you to eat bacon one day, and then they tell you don't eat bacon, and the next day they want you to wear a certain shoe. You know what they need to do? They need to shut the hell up. And you need to stop listening. That's what.
Yeah, I'd agree. Do you think spirits are good helpers in other ways aside of, say, nudging you in the right direction?
They are if they're good energies, if they are good spirit. But yes, everyone has spirit guides here. Everyone. When anyone ever says I'm alone in this world, that's because you don't listen and you don't pay attention. But everyone has spirit guides. You always have a man here with you who helps you with more masculine decisions, and a female here with more nurturing type decisions. But they are always here to help you. You just have to ask them. And once you actually do ask them, that's what they want you to do. Because when you ask them, then you're acknowledging the fact that they are real. And then they will help you. But when they give
like
you that answer, you have to follow through with it. I had a lady reading, she wanted to buy this car. I said, what car is it? She said, I want to buy this red car. I said, well, here's what you do. I want you to go and buy the red car. That's what I want you to do. So I got an answer. They're saying yes to buy the red car. Now, her life was going 1,000,000 miles an hour, so she couldn't listen on her own. So she came to me. And I said, yes, go buy the red car. So then I saw her a couple of weeks later, and she got on my live show, and she said, Daniel, I got to tell you, you were wrong. I said, wrong about what? She said, about the red car. I bought the red car, and it went back. It actually got repoed on me. And I said, well, let me find out what the truth is about that story. And she says, well, let me tell you. I said, no, I'm not. I don't want your story. I don't want your version because you're going to tell me a bunch of bullshit. I said, I'm going to listen to my archangels and have them tell me. So I went off camera a second. Came back. I said, I know what happened. She said, what? I said, well, you didn't put all the money down that you were going to put down on the down payment for the car. I said, you put money down on that necklace that you have on. And she said, what? I said, you put money down on that necklace. You took some of the money from the payment and put it down on that necklace. And then you figured you could keep doing that all the time, and that's what you did. And when you did that, that's why the car got repoed, because you weren't making all the payments. And she said, how the hell did you know that? And I said to her, because you're talking to the fucking medium, that's how. I gave you the answers to do something. And this is what you wanted. People come to me because they want an answer from God. And I get the answer. But they don't always like the answer because they don't like the truth. I gave her the answer. This is how you get the car. You pay for the car and just pay for the car. Don't use your ego and turn it around because you think you're going to make it better. Because if you could make it freaking better, you wouldn't be coming to me. That's why.
Right.
I'm not
right.
arrogant. I always tell people, don't mistake my confidence as arrogance. I just know I'm right. That's it. I gave her the answers, and she chose not to do anything with them the right way, the correct way. She wanted to make it a little bit better because that's what she lives her life. So then she asked me, well, I have another question for you. And my answer for that was no. Because if you're not going to listen to me, if you're not going to listen to God, an answer coming from God for you to do something, why would I get you another answer? Have a great day.
That's right, Anne Marie. You got to look in the mirror, right? A lot
That's
of times
right.
we are our worst
That's right.
enemies, and we don't listen to ourselves. We rationalize. We come up
Right.
with ways to not do the things we know we need to do.
Why do we rationalize? Because when you woke up in a baby body and you started growing up, people taught you to do that. They taught you everything. They taught you how to hate people. I mean, if you take two children of the age of 2 years old of every race, creed, and color, stick them in one big giant stadium room and turn two of them around and say, I want you to point to me, who do you hate? They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Why? Because they haven't learned how to hate yet.
That's right.
They learn everything.
Numerology. A couple of questions out there about 1111. Very common. People talk about seeing 1111. Is this just a mental thing where we get it stuck in our heads that we're going to
No.
see it?
It's
Or
an
is
angel number.
relevance to the number itself?
It's an angel number. It's the angel numbers are brought to you. So you have spiritual guides, and then you have your soul, and then you. And your spirit guides connect with your soul, and then it's your soul that runs your body. It's not your brain. Your brain doesn't do anything except make the little parts work. That's it. Okay? It doesn't hold any memories. If that were not true, then how could you talk to spirit? Because if they're talking back to you, how are they doing that when they don't have a brain? Correct?
Correct.
Correct. So it's your spirit guides connecting with you, getting your body to turn around and see these numbers. Why are you seeing these numbers? Because it's your spirit guide letting you know that you're on the right track. Pay attention to them. What does 1111 mean? You're not going to like the answer because 1111 is significant to a particular archangel. And that archangel's name is Lucifer.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the back of my truck. My truck has the angel wings on the back and says 1111.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, that's clever.
But
That's
he's not the devil. He helps us with business type decisions, work type decisions, those things.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily opposed to Lucifer. Maybe he got a bad rap. Tell us a little bit about Lucifer. And
He did get a bad rap.
demon out.
Man, you hit that one right
Like,
on. I was going to say,
he's trying to
he's
help
an angel
humanity.
with a bad rap. Yeah, man.
And now he's the devil.
Absolutely, because in order to have power and control over you, they have to punish you. In order to punish you, they have to come up with a place to put you in to punish you. They call it hell because they say you're going to burn in hell. But when you're pure energy doesn't burn, but flesh does. But as you know, when you die, you don't take your body with you. So, but they wanted to create this place called hell, the worst place possible. He's going to have horns and a tail, and he's going to fangs. He's going to come at you and torture the crap out of you and do all this stuff. And you're God's son. He's not going to torture you. We torture ourselves. We punish ourselves. He doesn't need to do that. We do it by pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish, all that stuff that you learned from other people. He's not going to do that. So you're not. But religion had to create this place in order to have power and control over you, because somehow they can banish you to a place that they themselves have never been to. So how can they do that? They can't do it. They're people. But they want you to believe that God and Jesus is going to do that. God and Jesus have absolutely nothing to do with that Bible. People put them in the Bible to have power and control over you. Again, the people who want to tell you how to live your life the way they want you to live it and give them 10%.
Right. These energies, when we're talking about archangels named Lucifer or St. Michael or
That's not their real
Jesus.
names. These are
do
human
they-
names that we give them. We can't pronounce their
Right.
names because we have a
I
voice
heard
box. Yeah,
Right,
it's like
we're-
your real name, Chris, is not your real name. This is your human name, and
Be
you've
too
had
many
26
tones.
other human names, but your real name is more like of a sound vibration.
Right.
It's like a
Enochian.
yeah. We can't pronounce it because we have a voice box. That's all. But there, you don't have a voice box.
But is that what they label it? Is that what they name it? Is Enochian?
even beyond.
Yeah, it's just
There's
a
another-
name given to them that
Yeah.
we can recognize, that we can pronounce.
We wouldn't be able to say it
But you
because-
know what I can't pronounce? Chinese.
because our voice boxes aren't built that way, right?
Correct.
Yeah, no, I have.
Because in the sense of it, God did not create words. God gave us an ability to make sound. We created words. So as I tell everybody, you can say any word that you want to that begins with the letter F that doesn't sound like fire truck, and he doesn't give a shit, as long as you're not putting that negative energy on someone. So if you want to say asshole all day long, great. You want to call somebody asshole all day long? No.
Yeah, you
because
can name
we're
your
not here
cat
to do
asshole.
that.
The cat doesn't necessarily mind.
Right.
Look, hey, fine. They just put the food in the bowl.
Yeah, somebody can call me asshole all day long, but you know what? They're only words. So I
They
don't
are.
care.
They are. But I was asking you, is these energies, these beings that we have labels for in, say, Christianity and forward, did they exist prior to that and have different names? Did people call them different things? It seems like a lot of the deities.
I will
Of
answer
all-
that question for you. You ready?
Take
It's
it
going to be a
for
big
us.
one. Before Jesus Christ was born, did they call it BC?
No.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
We don't know what they called it because
Correct.
Right.
They make it up as they go.
Hmm.
The more that they can make up, the more they can scare the shit out of you, the more power and control they can have over you, the more they will do it and continue to do it. You know what you do? Stop listening. Do what's in your heart.
So the answer is yes, I think, is what you're saying, though. These energies existed.
They existed,
You
yes.
see, you know,
But do
without
they have
labels.
particular names? No. Again, so you've had so many names. You've had 20, you've been here 27 times. You've had 26 other names. In the same sense, you've been here 27 times, meaning you've had 27 astrological signs altogether. Which one are you? None
Right.
of them.
Maybe not hold a lot of faith in the astrology. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't follow it too much. I mean,
I
there
wouldn't.
seems to be something to it. Some people seem really good at it, and perhaps there's other abilities in play when they're using it.
Yeah, how come they only point out a couple of stars that make a couple of signs, but everything else doesn't matter? How come it doesn't?
Like a tarot deck, you know, you can read somebody with that. And is it really the cards magical? Is the Ouija board magical? No, it's really the person.
No, stay away from Ouija boards, man. I'll tell you what.
Oh,
The
okay.
person, when you use a Ouija board, the person who opens up that portal in your home, whatever comes through, gets stuck to you. The people who created that thing were not creating it for a good thing.
How is that different than doing, say, any kind of ITC experiment, say using a spirit box or even a pendulum? And I think somebody had asked about pendulums
Yes.
earlier in the chat.
The way that the pendulum works is it's actually connected to your energy. So you're actually getting the answers from your soul. And your soul has been here many, many times. So it knows a lot of stuff. That's it.
Would that be the same
Energy.
as saying you're subconscious in a way?
No, there's no such thing as a subconscious. You have a soul and have a body. That's it. Everything you remember, even if you have a deja vu is a memory. You were in that place or had a similar experience, and that's why it feels like it's, oh my God, I've been here before. Because you have been here before. But the world doesn't want you to know that. If you knew that, you knew how much power and control you have over yourself, and you wouldn't need them.
Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of us against them.
Correct. It's always us against them.
Seems running through this.
Yes,
And
but
as Kristen
there
Riley
is-
pointed out earlier,
Yeah.
there's always been a 1%, right? That's something we do talk about on the show. We
Oh
kinda-
yeah, well, I
knows
was in a
politics.
bad.
It's not a political thing. It's just you
Correct.
can go back to
No, I
Anunnaki.
get it. Yeah,
kind of
I was in
thing.
I was in a real before I became. This was coming on for me right before I turned 50, but during that period, I was in a really bad motorcycle club, and we hung around the 1%ers all the time, so I know who they are. There's
Are they
just a difference of people. There's a
Are they
difference. We think there's a difference of standards, but here's the thing. Here's something you and the rest of your audience has in common with the other 7.5 billion people. They all went to heaven. They all had to come back. What's that mean? That means we're all equal, man. Let it go.
Hmm.
That's my
Well-
favorite 3 words. Let it go.
Let it go. They're a good
Yeah,
word.
let that shit go.
Let that shit go. Exactly who I was thinking. Yeah.
Was there something different about that 1%? That
Yeah, they believe they're better than us.
level even? Are they a
Right, they-
different being?
Right. They feel as though they have more power over us. The problem is we
Spencer?
relinquished the power over to them a long time ago. You've heard of them. They call kings and queens. We did that a long time ago. And we're still doing it. Now we call it government. Now we call it big corporation. Now we call it, Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. That's what we did. We did that because we didn't want to handle it ourselves. We didn't want to have the responsibility to do it. So we let other people do it. And they just took advantage of it. Here's how we change it. We take the power back. If you think that January 6th thing was just a fluke, that was a trial run, buddy.
I don't think you quite answered my question, though. That 1%, have they just made up a mental decision to be the way they are? Or was
Correct.
something inherent about their soul or in a
That's
kind of
it's
consciousness?
it's free will. It's free will to choose to have power over
Right.
others. That's what it is.
Like if it's a different being, right?
Right.
Oh
Like,
no.
I
there's-
yeah.
No,
Okay.
we are all souls here. We are all souls in human bodies, in the same sense that Hitler decided to do what Hitler wanted to do. Same thing. He just chose to do it. That's all.
That's
Everything you do in your life is your choice. You can either walk into this world and be a nice person, or you can choose to be a piece of crap.
That's true. That's
But
very true.
when you leave here, again, you have that choice to either go where all the nice people are or stay where all the piece of
I have
crap
to imagine
people are.
some of the people being pieces of crap are pieces of crap because of the way they were either brought up or some experience that happened to them. They maybe weren't born a
Trauma.
piece of crap, or maybe they
Well,
were.
correct. But in the same
you're
way, like I
wired from.
said, you can choose to drink alcohol or you can choose not to drink alcohol.
Mhm.
You can choose to be a good person, even though my mom was treating me like shit and beating the shit out of me all day long. And then my dad came in and said, I think I'll join in the fun. And then he did it too. I could still go, you know what? That doesn't sit right with me.
That happened to
I
you?
could beat the shit out of my kid, but you know what? I don't think I will.
Yeah, but did that really happen to you in your childhood?
No. I'm just saying, I'm just
I love
using
them,
that.
Christmas.
No,
Don't do
no.
that to me.
No, my parents were awesome. My
Okay,
parents
great.
were awesome.
My mind went to like serial killers and like,
Yeah, that's what I was.
what are they and why are they just seemingly so
Rewired wrong.
wired wrong?
They just because this is what they felt like they wanted to do, and there also could have been a negative energy in there whispering in their ear, say, "Go and kill some people."
I do
I,
think that
I don't want you to just kill
part
some
of it,
people.
right?
I want you to eat them too.
Right.
It's really gross.
Save a
Yeah.
Right,
take a souvenir.
right,
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
right.
Barbara asks, what do you think of mental telepathy?
Mental telepathy is how spirit communicate to each other, and how we communicate to each other too. We just don't realize we're doing it until we think about somebody, and then the next thing you know, they call us on the phone. Why do you
Yes,
think that's happening, people? Wake up. We could-
Our audience is awake.
Yeah, we could do that, but we don't do it because we're too worried about going on having 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats and work, and go on vacation. We're too occupied with all the bull
Right.
crap in the
That's like one.
world.
That's not. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
One boat would be all right.
Tiny one. At least we can go fishing off
No,
of.
I get it. I ride motorcycles.
everybody
I have
yeah.
2 motorcycles, and my wife and I have Can-Ams. But do I need 50? Do I
No.
need 10 houses around the world that I can go live in?
I
No.
always say that too. If we were ever to win the lottery, we would not have, like Chris says it too, like all these cars and all these homes spread out and stuff. We'd
I
be,
wouldn't own anything. I'd rent it.
Yeah.
we'd be like,
Yeah.
we'll
When I'm
just
done with it,
barely
I'm
get-
done with it.
It's not a terrible way to do it.
No.
Yeah. Wait, when Kristen and I are always in each other's heads, seemingly.
Yes,
You know,
it's
just
weird.
to a point where it's weird. We're like this like really old couple.
But we're
We're not the youngest couple.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we just went through this at
Yeah.
dinner thing.
We
Yeah,
did.
don't worry, Kristen. I got eyes. You got it going on. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's sweet of you. Thank you.
I mean, like boom
Think of-
shakalaka. You're all right.
Boom chakalaka.
No,
Yeah.
what's her
Chris,
name?
Chris, you're moderately handsome, but you know, whatever.
Oh, he's very handsome and
As long as she thinks so, I'm all right.
As
Yeah.
long as she thinks so, you
Mhm.
are all right.
Charo.
Charo, loving coochie coochie.
Coochie,
Oh my God, was
coochie
she
is what
good
I was
looking?
thinking.
Holy
What
shit!
was weird was
You remember Charo, right?
we went
Oh
to
yeah,
a
I'd like to see Charo's coochie coochie.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
I may have known somebody did. who did.
yes.
Really?
Possibly,
Yes.
potentially.
It was
He
a
definitely knew
weird
Charo.
conversation tonight that
Gave me an
Sorry.
autographed picture of Charo when I was a kid, and she signed it. Hi, Chris, or Chris,
Oh.
loving Coochie Coochie Charo.
yeah,
And I don't know how we got on Charo. It was a
because
very
we went to El
conversation.
Charo for dinner.
Oh, that's right. El Charo was the name
There
of
you
the
go.
restaurant.
I had to look
Two
that up.
R's.
And I'm like, isn't Charo a woman with like I think she had like double M's or triple M boobs
She
or
had nice
something?
boobs.
And a baseball field is what I can remember. When I was a kid. Boy, these poor people who are so much
Baseball
younger
field.
than us.
What happened in the baseball field?
Right.
She would go out and like dance around and stuff, and
Yeah.
boobs be giving black
Ball-
eyes
she
and
was a
shit.
ball of energy.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, all
Yes.
just crazy
She was,
stuff.
yes.
like that.
Coochie,
Yeah.
coochie, coochie. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And she lived in America for like years, and she never got rid of that accent.
No.
That's okay. A lot of people don't though. But
Yeah, no, there's all those people from Boston, you know.
that's us.
Yeah,
Well,
car.
New England.
Boston.
Yeah, I
car.
got the car.
Oh,
It's wicked.
my-
It's wicked cool. Yeah,
It's wicked
Yeah,
awesome.
say
Oh, we
wicked.
can't
Wicked
see it.
pizza.
Wicked good time.
We podcasted
I
from,
love that
from
movie.
Rhode
Ted.
Island,
It was
actually.
awesome.
We're just a couple of podcasters
wicked
from Rhode Island.
That's
But
it.
we're pretty close to Boston. We know where to park the cars.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how to park the car. Yeah, I got that. I'm from Jersey, you know. I'm from South
yeah.
Jersey, so I didn't talk like I'm from Jersey because nobody talks that way.
Joyzy. You're
Joyzy.
from Joyzy.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
everybody that talks crazy on that Jersey Shore, they were all actually from New York. So
I never watched that at
Yeah.
all.
Do you know why you didn't watch it?
Because it sucks.
Because
Because it
my,
sucks. It's bullshit. That's why. Because
My
you have a
spirit-
brain in your head that says this is stupid.
I was going to go with my spirit guide said, no, change that channel.
That's right. Your spirit guide did say that, and you said,
Yeah, I'm
no.
sure. Yep.
Let me watch a
They
soap
answered
opera
it.
instead. So yeah.
No, I don't do soap operas either.
Hey, Carol's from Jersey.
Yeah,
Yes,
you don't pay
that's right,
attention.
Carol, you are.
Carol, I am from New Jersey. I'm from South Jersey. It was a little town called National Park. It was near Woodbury, New Jersey. That's where I was born, and I lived there till I was 17, till I moved to Delaware. I didn't want to move to Delaware. My parents. I had to do my last year of high school there. That was horrible. What a culture shock too. Crazy. Rednecks. Oh, it's awesome.
It's a move. Yeah,
Farms.
yeah, sure. My
It's all
father went
pig
through
shit
something like
everywhere.
that from Philadelphia to some rural town in Pennsylvania, and yeah, it was a whole different world for him. And I think he held on to that. He didn't like that change.
Yeah, my parents were from Philly, and I went to the Mummers Parade all the time and all that stuff. But you tell that around here, people are like, "What the hell's a mummer?" Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I didn't know that
Don't know.
that part of the.
They were people who dressed up in big, giant, elaborate costumes and pranced down the street, and they had a band playing, and they were all dressed up, and they had competitions and all that stuff.
That's
It was
really
New
cool.
Year's Day parade.
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, Carol's from Hackensack.
Hackensack, Joyce.
Hackensack. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see. Said the blind man. I got that.
As the deaf man falls down the stairs.
What does he say?
Okay. I see, said the blind man, as the deaf man falls down the stairs. Is this racist? Because I really don't want to be racist on our show.
I don't know where you're going.
I don't
I
either,
don't know
but
where you're going with that either. You screwed me up.
that's actually the other half of that.
Other part of
Anyone?
Is
it.
that like the blind man who walks into the fish market and says, "Hello, ladies"?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, yeah.
Ba-dum.
It's a little like that.
Jesus.
Well, not exactly, but I'm pretty damn close.
Oh, good Lord, that's funny.
Good Lord.
Good-
So
Yeah, him too. I'm close to him too. Very close. And why do I have such a connection to archangels? And why am I when I explained that I said that light is me, that light is me. I have that connection because I used to be one of them. I'm the closest thing you're ever going to have to a walking archangel on the face of this earth. And I'm not shitting you. And
No,
I know someone's going to say, that's a bold statement.
it's a
You
very.
don't say shit like that unless you think it is. And I know it is. That's
and
why I have such a
why do you
connection.
think that?
Yes,
Maybe
it's-
explain.
Because
Please,
that's what they
for
told me. They told me that I channeled when I channeled the first time when I first channeled with this group of women. I didn't know anything of the stuff, all the accoutrement that they were telling me, and I was brought a message to sit down in front of this one girl, ask her if it was okay, and then clear out her minds, and a message would come through and hold her hands. And I was like, so I did that at this meeting we had once a month, and I asked her about it, and she said, yeah, let's do that. So we started to do it, and one lady goes, "Is that you guys go to channel?" And I was like, "What's that mean?" I don't know. This is what they told me to do. So I did that with her, and when I did, as soon as she touched my hands, it looked like she got shocked with electricity. Everybody I do it with. That's why when I do a reading for someone, I only hold one hand. Because I did it with my sister, who had a little bit of an ability, but she is too negative to have it come through. And when I tried to hold both of her hands, she went in convulsions and passed out on the floor.
Oh my goodness.
So I touched her hand, and then when I touched her hands, then a message came through, and then Uriel came through, and then I went and did this with each person, and I've done it with other mediums as too. It's documented, and every time I do it, the voice that comes through is not their voice. The words they use is not their words, and
When
every
you're-
time it's been Jesus has come through a bunch of times. Uriel, Michael. Gabriel,
June used to
Lucifer came through one time, and then the big God came through. God.
Really? I thought you
Yeah.
said nobody talked to God, or he doesn't talk to anybody.
I do. I've seen him 5 times. He doesn't look like what you think he would look like, because I was one of them. So that's why I'm able to talk to him.
What does he look like? Gotta ask him.
The 4 times I saw him, he looked like the Greek god Zeus. He had long gray hair, but he had very muscular, but he had crow's feet. But one
Okay.
time I saw him, he showed me self. He was genderless, just 2 round eyes, a small nose, and a mouth, and that's it. And then
Not George Burns.
No. Oh God. Yeah, I
Oh,
love that
God.
movie, man.
Book 2.
I know, book two, right? Yeah,
brought up
John
so
Denver.
much.
Come
Oh.
on, man.
Oh
But,
my God. We were just talking about John Denver. I'm sorry.
I know,
my,
right? Yeah.
my mother's
Rocky
favorite.
Mountain High. Yeah. But when he came through because I was actually sick. I had the flu, and I ended up going in the hospital for 4 days. But he came through just to let me know that everything was going to be okay. That I had to go through this in order to be purged.
Yeah, that's
But
the thing.
One
Purged
of the
of
times
what?
he came through, he just looked at me. He came through, and when I see spirit, they're always at a distance. Even when I see archangels, they're always at a distance from me. No one's this close, and he's the only one who's this close. When I was channeling with these people, when he came through, I just I could see him, but I turned my head around. And I looked at everybody, and everybody's hair was sticking straight out. It was just crazy
Stuff.
shit that was going on. When God walks in the room, you don't ask him the fucking lottery numbers. You know who you're talking to. When he comes into the room and says, "Hello, my son," you know who the hell's in the room. So, but when he came in one time and said to me, I just looked at him. I said, "Father," because I was like, because I don't see him that often. And he said, "Hello, my son." I said, "Is there anything I can help you with?" He said, "This chokes me up every time." I said, "Is there anything I can help you with?" He said, "No." I said, "Why are you here?" He said, "Because you're my son." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Am I doing everything that you need me to do?" He said, "You're doing everything. Everything we want you to do. Just keep following the messages. You'll be okay." So, and then another time he came through maybe about 8 months ago. He came through and I saw him, and he said two things. He just looked at me and said, "I love you. I will always love you." And it just, what do you do? What do you do when he comes into the room? What do you do? Like I said, you're not going to ask him stupid shit.
No, I
Like
wouldn't
everybody
think so.
says they're going to ask
I'm
him.
sure
You're
it's
not.
very humbling.
I would, right. And
feel
I
it.
would also feel what you
You
feel
feel
when
it.
you
Your
come
body,
into
your
the room.
skin starts vibrating. Your body starts vibrating because you're connecting with pure love. And when he comes through, I'm speechless. It's just he starts saying stuff, and then I start talking to him, and and then just lets me know everything's going to be okay, and that's
And do you
it.
feel
But
like there is like a gender thing? You mentioned there was one kind of
One-
genderless, which kind of
yeah.
makes more sense.
yeah,
But you referred to him as him, and he looked like
right.
Zeus,
Yeah,
looks like
he
Jupiter.
he told me he said I'm neither he or she. He said I just am. He said to me, he said, "You just are."
The
Just be.
duality of the sexes is maybe just to
Yes.
repopulate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that exactly. That's what it's for. But when you're hugging someone, that you ever hug somebody and just you don't want to let go? That's an energy transfer. It's someone that you're connected with, and you just don't want to let go. You know what you do? Don't let
Don't
go.
let go.
No, don't let go. You hold on to them as long as you can, and keep them there for as long as you can, because eventually they're going to leave the physical part, but they'll always be with you. Just talk to them.
Chris, we call a lot of these things synchronicity,
Correct.
and Chris and I do. And some of
what
our
it is.
audience, yes.
You
It's-
guys aren't wrong about a lot of this stuff, you know.
Following them seems to be like an indication that you're on a good path, and I think you mentioned that a
Correct.
little bit earlier. And that is something we've talked about. It's in the Hell You
Yes.
series too. You know, it kind of brought the light, and it's just something a lot of people do encounter in their lives when you're having a lot of synchronicities going on and things are falling into place. It usually kind of means you're on the right path,
Right.
whatever that might mean. Maybe it's working your way back home, as you put it.
A lot of us don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to research.
That's why I pointed my head off to the side, because I just got told something. Neither one of you are coming back.
So
Ever.
we're,
I muted you as
Yeah.
you asked.
thank
Yeah,
you.
you're done.
So
You're
where
gonna
do
go.
we going to stay up there, and
You're gonna go
what's
home
going
and
to
stay
happen
home.
to us?
Um,
So that's something.
like I
So
said,
would we become
So I get that
archangels?
no one does. You can, but it takes a very long time, and it takes a huge commitment. When you leave here, so when I see those earthbound spirit, they're not just making out; they're having sex. You can still do that. It's just pure energy. When you are making love to someone, and you just feel that it's so strong, It's not like you're even having sex anymore. It just feels like you're trying to crawl inside of their body and become one with them. That's because it's meant to happen. And so that's what's going on, okay? And they're still having sex over there. Well, they still have sex in heaven as well. In order to become an archangel, you give that up. You are all about service, and that is it.
And that
And
should be like the way you feel as an
correct.
archangel and not go into temptation as we're going in.
There's no temptation at that point.
Right.
You don't have
Because it's just one light.
right.
Correct.
You learn to let it go. Yeah, but archangels are. I mean, I know one of them that's 5,000 years old. And most of the other ones I know that are billions of years old. That's all.
Oh, we like this with the billions. We have a thing with this.
Billions and billions, right?
Yeah,
It's called-
they're here before religion. Religion's made up by people.
Well,
You
we
know, there's
about
50
people and
different religions, and they all
civilizations?
have their own ideology. Which one's correct? None
Okay.
of them. It's just their ideology.
you know how we were going with Darwinism earlier in the podcast, right? So now I'm thinking, you say that, it's like this is what Chris and I really do feel like, that there's been so many civilizations before
Rise
us.
and fall.
Rise
ancient,
and
we don't even know
fall,
about them.
volcanic.
Correct.
When you say
six mass
billions, we're going
extinctions.
past the 300,000 years where
Right.
Homo
Oh, yeah.
sapiens came into play.
Well, archangels don't necessarily have to do only with Earth. They
Okay, yeah,
they
let's-
do they have to do with everything. Look up in the sky. That's why I say no one sees God when you go to heaven, because look up in the sky. He's doing that. You will see archangels. You will see angels. What archangels call, so there's a hierarchy. So you have God, archangels, what archangels call lesser angels because they just have less responsibility. Then you have spirit guide. Then you have spirit. Then you have us. Then you have the low energy place. That's it. But yeah, billions of years.
are there
We-
other
we call it
planets?
billions of years. It's just they just where they are. They just are. You just
Yeah.
be. That's it. You're not waiting for 4:30. You just
Did the creator make other planets that
he made
have,
everything.
have other civilizations just like us?
Yes, he made
They
everything.
say, mathematically, there is a planet just like ours, and we have a twin on it, and that kind of thing.
No, you don't have a
because-
twin on it. Yeah, there's no twin flames or twin souls, or you're not. You don't have a half a soul and the other one's living somewhere else. No, you're,
It's
you're
more
a complete being.
The not like a soul twin, but more like an identical twin in a way, just
No.
because of the numbers of planets and things.
Have,
And,
have you seen the Greys? Do they look like your twin?
no,
No, they don't. No, there
Mm-hmm.
are other beings out there that look humanoid, but
Yes.
there's only one human race. Yeah, but there's other planets with other beings and other worlds and all that stuff. Yeah,
are their souls the same?
a soul is a soul. A cricket has a soul.
Yes.
Mm.
Anything living has
A tree.
soul,
We're
has
big
a
fans
soul.
of animism, panpsychism,
Yes.
like talking
Like
about that
so,
stuff.
when you leave here and you go back home, a cow was not going to walk up to you and say, "Chris, I'm going to kick your ass for eating a hamburger." No, it understands this. It understands the circle of life. The soul does
Indian
not
friends
feel the
were right.
pain. Right. The soul doesn't feel the pain. It's just the body
cows.
does. But it knows the body needs to eat meat, so it just does.
Well, we like it.
I
Some
had
of
a
us are
cheeseburger today.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so did I tonight in a
Yeah.
taco salad. So
Yeah.
yes, but
Yeah, I love taco salad. I love.
What
I
makes it
live near
different?
Mexico. I live 12 miles away from Mexico, and I still go to Taco Bell.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
well,
not kidding. Yeah. We have 2 Taco Bells in here. We have a Pizza Hut, and then right down the street is another Pizza Hut in my town. It's crazy.
wow, that's weird.
13 gas
like-
stations. 13 gas stations and 21 coffee houses.
Right.
Everyone's going and hyped up. So
Making a buck.
yeah, make it a buck. But yes,
Right.
they've been here for billions and billions of years. They are just beings of a higher consciousness that no longer need a body. That's it.
So that was my question. Billions and billions of years. Like I said, we,
In
think
our
that-
time, years, but in their time, there is no time. They just are.
right. So, but here in our time, do you think that there were other human beings billions
Yes.
and billions of years
Atlantis was here.
ago?
But the reason you don't have Atlanteans anymore is because they learned what Jesus was trying to teach, to work together, to live together and take care of each other. And they did. And
Did they
once
get
they
the fuck
learned
up?
that lesson, they rose up out of their bodies and went to a higher consciousness.
exactly.
No one, no
somewhere
one
else.
on the face of this earth will leave and go to a higher consciousness on their own. No one will. We have to do it as a race of people, and there's only one race. That's the human race. So the Mayan Indians, why do you only see the buildings and not the people? Same thing. Who's left? We are. And are we getting it right? No.
No.
Probably
So
not.
what? And hopefully the happy ending is we all get it right, and then what happens? The second coming.
Or does this only
Well, I
happen?
could go in my
outside of
closet
hours?
right now and get a happy ending, but that's different.
Oh my
Yeah,
God! This
let's go in there,
guy's like
too. It's
you.
Only happens at the massage parlor. Sorry,
Yeah, well, that's what I
$10,
told my
sir.
wife. Yeah.
Pillcraft.
$10.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, we're waiting. And when you do, when that actually does, when you die and leave up out of your body, you're going to release everything that's in you, and it's like having 100,000 orgasms. You
Oh,
release
that sounds
everything.
like
You
it.
just feel wonderful. But it just depends on where you go from that point. If you go into the light, and if you're allowed to stay. Yeah, but if you don't, like I said, they're walking around here. They're not always full of energy, and it's like being nauseated all the time.
Does a situation happen where you go and then get kicked out?
Why would you get kicked
You
out?
said allowed to stay.
A lot.
No,
Yeah.
you're not
maybe
being
not.
kicked out. You're just being sent back to do it over again because you need.
He meant before you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you get right there.
Oh no! So you
know,
don't go to a
unless you have
pearly gates and they go, "Fuck you, Chris," and you're out of here, and boom. No,
Yeah.
no.
You
No,
got
they're not
3
doing
days.
that.
You can stay over there in the
No,
corner.
you go, you walk in, and that's it. You
Right.
having the wanting to do it and the willingness to walk in, and when you do that, you get washed away of all that crap you had. All that you're doing at that point is deciding to return home. This is not home. That's home. And when because you did that, you wanted to go home because you wanted joy, and that's what you did, and that's what you received. And then you'll be home with you'll see archangels everywhere. You'll see them walking around with their big giant bug heads and all that stuff. And
So you
Archangel
think they're
Michael,
like
Michael
I'm
doesn't look
sorry.
like a man.
Pull our head bug out and kind of look weird.
Mantis-
No. You will remain you. It'll be just like you do now. But you know how you have childhood memories? Well, you'll have childhood memories and all other memories of the past 26 lifetimes. You'll still be you, but you'll just have a lot more memories, and it'll be clear memories though. But you'll still be you.
But you said that we'd be like in a body, like a mantis body or whatever.
No. That's archangels. That's
okay.
Yeah, archangels have, but they don't just look like mantises. I mean, I see some that look like owls. Archangel Michael looks like a combination of a moose and a horse. He's got a big wide head, but his eyes kind of like wolf eyes, and they're red, like a brownish red. And then, but he has these big floppy ears. He doesn't have antlers, but he has this long body that looks like a horse. Has that short hair on it. But yeah, that's what he looks like. He glows purple to give us a soothing feeling. That's all he does. He manipulates
actually a
himself
royal.
to look like. Yeah, he manipulates himself to
But
look like this. Just in the same way.
When
if
you're
negative energy comes through and
Just
wants
one question. How did Daniel become an archangel?
me,
No, how did Daniel?
okay.
Was it meaning Daniel?
He means him. He's asking
Yeah.
Daniel how he became an archangel.
oh, any archangel, the same way that you became human, the same way you became a soul. God created it. So,
Thank you.
but he created them first. And then he wanted something more. He created more children, but he wanted those children to learn about everything and anything that they could. So he just sends them here, but he sends them to other planets as well. But
I
they
was just
send a lot of them here. And then we also have those things called star seeds, where you were born at another planet. You were not getting it correct at all over there. And then they send you here. This is a learning planet. I mean, if you can't learn around here, there's something wrong with you.
Interesting. We have a friend that says that all the time.
Yeah,
Maybe we
but
weren't that far off when we said prison planet, though, really, in a way.
you're just
Like,
learning.
it sounds
Yeah.
like detention to me.
Believe me, I worked in prison. They're not learning anything over there. They don't teach them anything. They do
That's
that
our-
for money.
But we're
Yeah.
here for a reason, and you
Yes,
got to go.
the
there.
reason is for you to learn something, to do something good as much as you can, and finally say to yourself, you know what? I can do good all the time if I want to, so I will.
That's very true.
I like
Right.
Echo Leaf's comment there. He says, "It
Or
won't
you
be
could be a
judged
Kardashian.
Pearly Gates." No, it will be the whales and dolphins that will judge by how much plastic they had to swim through.
There you go.
I like
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and when you die, you come back, you don't become a whale because you say, I'm going to become a whale next time. It doesn't work that way. You become a human. Whales come back as whales, dogs come back as dogs. But dogs and cats and horses and all that stuff, they don't live as many lives as we do because they don't have that much to learn.
What
We do.
happens to that consciousness? Does it get recycled?
Just
into
goes
something?
back home. Yeah. Not all, like I said, not all of them do. I see
Is
dogs
home
and
kind of a
cats.
recycling plant for consciousness? Can I ask you that?
The recycling plant is you go home and they let you know if you have to come back or not. That's all it is.
The archangels let you know.
Right.
Yes, they
but
will know.
new
Yeah.
people are constantly being born, right? There's new creatures, there's bugs,
Yes.
there's plants,
Right,
there's
but,
all these
but
things.
there's a plethora of souls that have to come back again. Like I said, so when you die, Chris, if you die at the age of 80 years old, you won't come back until another 80 years. So it's a cycle of about 160 years before
And
you.
why do we have,
I hope I make it to
almost
80.
8 billion people on
Thank
our planet?
Because we're
Other-
learning how to live together.
The
because
population
If
increases.
we weren't,
Population just
if we weren't
increased.
meant to live together, there would only be one.
True.
Can the consciousness of a
But-
cricket be like two plants? Like, is there some sort of weight system with that? That's a legit question. I'm not goofing around. Like,
Oh, no, go ahead.
psychism, animism, the ability of matter to just hold a consciousness. There seems to be different levels. The trees are much smarter than I think most people thought. They do.
Mhm.
They do make decisions and
They
actively.
do, but what are they
live.
able to do? What are they able to do physically? So they're not. They've gone as
Use
far as
myself.
they can go,
communicate.
but they
Yeah.
do communicate with each other. They do root together sometimes. They do pollinate with each other. They are figuring it out. Yes,
Yeah, they
They-
can
they're
recognize other trees
figuring
and
it
their,
out.
their
Absolutely.
family that
Dolphins-
are connected
dolphins
to
are
that.
super smart, but
Choke
they're
off
just meant,
trees. That
they're meant to
aren't.
be dolphins. You know, they're meant to figure out their dolphin life. That's all. Sometimes they go off by themselves, and most of the time they work in pods, that type of thing. But they are meant to be here.
Kind of like we
Pods.
do. We go to work in pods,
Right. Everything
Family.
else is meant to be here for the human experience.
All right. Echo Leaf asked, how do we know if we're a star seed? And on that note, Kristen, what about star families?
You'd have to ask somebody like me or somebody who's actually real that is like me. But you would feel it. When a star seed is someone who actually feels like, I don't belong here. I've never, and you just feel like, I've never belonged here. I don't know why I'm here. And you come here, you're here for many times, but you were somewhere else many times before. And that's why when you come here, you just, like somebody who walks into a building and everyone's wearing a suit and you have on shorts and flip-flops. You feel like you don't fit. You're out of place.
I feel like that constantly, but I don't necessarily use the term starseed too much, but we talk about it, right? We have
Yeah,
people.
you're not
Yeah,
a star
good
seed.
friend
You
of
don't worry
ours.
about it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if you want to fit in someplace, go ahead.
Not necessarily.
There's nothing in the rule book that says you can't fit in. They just say, "Oh, well, you don't have a suit on like us. So what? Do you take a shit every morning? Me too. Do you have breakfast every morning? Me too. Are you able to write cursive? Me too. Are you human? Me too. Let it go.
Let it go.
They don't get. They just don't get it.
Yeah.
No.
We're meant to. You're black. You're white. You're gray. Whatever color you are, you're human.
That's right.
That's it.
You're human now. I guess maybe we'll put it that way, right? So maybe they
Well,
weren't.
you're human now until you die and go back to being a soul again. Sure.
Hmm.
But yeah,
so
you.
we're getting to qualifying like the consciousness. Like if you're a being.
Oh, you're
on-
talking about levels? No,
We're
sort
talking
of
about aliens
levels or differences.
Like,
Obviously, like one
like
is higher than the
planets.
other, but
they're not higher. Do you know what they know? They know more than you do. That's all. It's not a level. Like there's no such thing as ascended masters because spirit don't believe that any is any different than anyone else. So they don't call themselves masters. We come up with these terms. We come up with levels because we want to think that it's more and more and more and more. So I can become a better one than you are. That's what they think. That's ego. All
I
of it
agree.
is
I
ego.
think insecurity plays a role in some of that.
Correct. It's all
But
about
you
ego.
mentioned like not fitting in to society, feeling like an outcast, and that maybe that was because you had spent another lifetime on a different planet, maybe a different kind of being, right? Not
Correct.
necessarily human race.
Correct.
So how did
you.
that work out? I guess on consciousness, not necessarily what's better or higher or whatever.
Consciousness is
different.
just consciousness. That's it. Just like in one body, you're here as this white guy, and maybe 10 lifetimes ago, you were a black guy. But did your consciousness change? No. You're just here learning different things. There's
I've
no
heard this.
difference in, there's no levels. We create levels because we, like in the same way, Buddha would teach to his students that you will go to heaven and you will get bags of gold. You will live in mansions that are 7 stories tall. But Buddha himself did not find true happiness until Buddha got rid of all his worldly possessions. But why did he continue to teach people like that? All that stuff. Because people always want to know one thing: what's in it for me? What he would do is teach them all that. Look what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get. And as long as he taught them that, they would do good things. And then when they would finally reach heaven, they'd go, I don't need any of that. But I'm still here.
Very,
To stay
very,
on the correct path.
very good answer. Carol mentioned, are there Akashic records?
Yeah, just yeah. I mean, but so I don't delve in. I'll tell you why I don't delve in this. I don't delve into past lives, and Akashic records are great. Okay, they can help you to understand your soul somewhat, but your soul is meant to live in this body here. If your soul was so important, if your life last time was so freaking important, you would have fulfilled your purpose. You wouldn't be here now. So why do you need to know about that? Why does somebody want to know about that? Because they want to have a story that they can tell their friends. Oh, guess what? I was related to a royal king. And I would say, really? So you stood on the backs of people? You think that's nice? You think that's something to be freaking proud of? I don't
Nope.
think so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Mentioned earlier,
Because what's
perspective is
important is what you do now, not what you did 100 years ago, because it was important when you were living that life. You're no longer living that one. You're living this one. Stop eating shit, stop eating crow, and stop thinking of yourselves better than everybody else, Kim Kardashian, and start being nice to people and move forward. That's what you do.
All right. And
never
Jack's
watched one of
question, I think, is fair in
Yes.
light of this. He says, so as an archangel, you don't think you have a higher consciousness than anyone else?
No, I don't believe myself as being better than anyone else, but I am also human as well. So the human part does come in. So I'm still human. I still, my wife says to me, okay, word of God, it's time to empty the dishwasher.
The
So
word
I
of
do.
God says.
Right.
Yeah.
but
God's
but I get answers from them, and that's why I was them. I have to be MB, one of them, in order to get the answers that I get, in order to have the communication and have the connection with them that I do. Not everybody does this. Not everybody can do this. You're either meant to or not.
So
There
you're
are
getting
other mediums can have archangels with them, but that does not mean they were an archangel. They're just meant to do bigger things. As I always tell people, some of us are meant to be teachers. Others are just meant to be students. I'm the teacher's teacher. That's why I'm here.
So do you think, and this is a terribly morbid question, I'm really sorry, that when you pass away, that this will be your last time around and you will become an archangel with
Yes,
them?
this is my last time. When I pass away this time, I will actually go home. I haven't been home since the beginning of time here. I will go home.
That's
But
very
when I do go home, then what it means for everyone else is you will just go to that holding place and stay there until this place comes to an end in 311 years. And then some of us will actually go home and stay home, and then others will go to the new beginning, new earth.
interesting.
Yeah.
The light will,
It kind of
but
plays
the
a
thing
little
about
into
that is
Akashic
the light will
records,
go out.
actually, when you say that, because it is sort of like that comment
Yeah.
earlier about past, present, future, all occurring simultaneously, like it's all been done, and there is some kind of record of the outcomes.
Yeah,
and
there's
what
well, no,
says
there's not a
you're going to
because
go home.
because of free
you know
will, things can change. Like people who get, like, when you're clairvoyant, you're getting answers. You're giving those answers. Sometimes I get answers about people that I'm not meant to give it to. I was doing readings in the mall, and this guy walked past me with a little girl, and I got a message from regular spirit that said he was going to die when he was 47. But me being me, I asked them. I said, should I tell him that? And I got no. And then I was also told that the little girl has to go through a lesson of her father dying and how she handles that. But it was meant for him to die anyway, because he was done.
That's sad
So that
too.
it does seem sort of
It is.
predetermined, right?
But
So
it's
you're
sad
looking
in a
at
human way because we were
feminism.
taught to fear death.
Like-
That's why.
Why the
Yes.
little girl, that consciousness happened to be his little girl, knowing ahead of time she had to learn this lesson. Like we talk about fate and free will, it just seems like there's a lot of fate play in that.
There is, but fate can be changed because we make decisions that change it. Because we use our free will too much about ourselves and not what it's intended for.
You said
He gives
negative
us the
beings.
choice.
I'm sorry. You
And
said
but you
negative.
had it right on the head. You hit it right on the head, Chris. Right on the head.
Thank you.
You know what the hell you're talking about.
I try.
We
Don't
try.
always know.
You're
But
doing a good job. That's why you guys are together. That's why
Well,
you
good
guys
team.
have been together 17 times.
Ah,
that I actually believe.
there's
You have
a
no idea
Yeah,
what
couple of
we
them
did.
in there.
with
Because you know why, Kristen? Because you fucking can't get rid of them. That's why.
Right?
I keep being born with those large
It's
hands.
so. Oh my God, guys are so bad.
We're pigs.
Yes. So
You know what? I'm human. I was an archangel. Still am. But I'm human. I love a great ass.
my God, I'm just okay. So
Stand
you
up,
said
Kristen.
no. I'm not standing.
Hey,
up.
yeah,
Oh, thank
I
you.
got a boo button.
There.
I do.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
needs it apparently.
The boob button.
The boop, boop.
Oh, man.
But you had
Funny.
said earlier about the negative energies sucking up everybody's like really angry and sadness emotions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My thing was, and this is sad, and I'm sorry to everybody, but an archangel would give somebody sadness and anger, and I don't want to be here anymore.
No.
And you
They
said
give you a
that.
choice. They give you a choice.
Well, they give you a choice, and this
Yeah.
person took the
But
choice.
it's not archangels giving you that. God gives you that. Archangels are just the messengers.
Right.
Yeah.
So they took that route. So that means the other beings are sucking off their negative energy and everything. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it right on the head. But they
Angel,
are being that way because they choose to be that way.
right? The word angel isn't it derived from a word that more or less means messenger?
Yeah.
And
I did not know that until you just told me. I knew they were messengers because they told me.
Oh, well.
Like I said, I don't read the Bible. I don't read books. I don't follow other mediums. I don't do none of that stuff. I've read 3 books in my life, and one of them is right behind me. And I only read it
That's
because
right.
we had to get all. I had to make sure there was no mistakes in it.
Nothing against it. It's
No.
stories.
Yeah.
It's opinions. It's
like,
everybody's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
tell you.
the
I'll
story
tell you
of Raphael.
a discrepancy in the Bible.
Right.
That the Bible really gets screwed up. Leviticus 1931. Again, I was told. Okay, Leviticus 1931. Well, Leviticus is not actually a person. Leviticus was an actual group of people that Moses was connected to. So what did they do? They sat around and came up with rules. Okay, but Leviticus 1931 says don't speak to mediums because they speak to the dead. They speak to spirit, which is demons and bad energies and stuff like that. But let me ask you something. Do you believe when your mom and dad died, they became a demon? No, they're your mom and dad. Okay, there's pieces of shit because there's pieces of shit. That's all, and they choose to be a piece of shit. But anyway, so they tell you not to speak to mediums because we speak to the dead. We're speaking to demons and devils and all that stuff, spirit. Okay, now in the Bible, it has Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Father and the Son, correct, but no Holy Ghost because for first thing, God's not holy. Religion's holy. Okay, and then the ghost. How do you know he's holy unless you spoke to him? Did he tell you he was holy? And if he did tell you he's holy and you are communicating with him, doesn't that make you a medium, of which the Bible says you're not allowed to be?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Contradiction.
Right.
Yes,
And
very much
especially
so. We've talked about this.
in
Yes.
medieval times, Christianity was really down on this, right? And
Oh,
then it
yeah.
became okay to go after demons, but not talk to the dead. No
Right.
necromancy.
But
Right?
how do they know they would be demons unless those demons are dead? Because they are. They're in spirit. They're demons.
Well, they only persecuted pretty much the poor people, anyways, right? So
Yeah, well,
we had
because
court
we're
astrologers.
killing in the name of God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
we use divination. We use a necromancy. We're cutting off
Maths.
heads and talking to the skulls,
Right.
meaning
Right.
the kings and queens. and such. But if
Correct. It's all about power. It's all about
of course,
control.
Scottish
It's all
woman
about
in the
me telling
village
you what
Very
you're going to do, and I'm going to
talked
do
to
what
her
I want to do.
plants when you grew them, she would be burned alive.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Thought you were going Mary
Yeah.
Dyer, but yeah.
Like the whole witches thing. No, I'm sorry. Here's what witches were. Witches were actually mediums. They could talk to. They could talk to spirit. But what they also did was they would use herbs and spices and all that stuff. They were the unconfirmed doctor in the area. They were just healing people. They were healers. But religion came in and said, "Oh no, you're speaking to the dead. That means you're speaking to demons and devils." And then
Right.
they come up with this word and called you a witch. In other words, they gave you a scarlet letter. So
Right.
everybody
Yeah,
out there who's
they
joining a
definitely
club to become a
planted the
witch
seed.
on Facebook, stop.
The
Because if you're not actually speaking to spirit, you are not a fucking witch. I'm just telling you.
right,
And if
right.
you are speaking to spirit, you're here to help people,
That's right.
not cause curses on people because curses don't work. Nothing actually works unless you
Bullshit.
believe in it.
Intent.
Yeah, that is a
Correct.
lot of it. And
It's
interesting to
karma.
note, just on that note, that the devil being recorded as who the witches were dancing with in the woods
Yeah,
only came
okay.
around when we went through like the burning times, right?
Right.
Prior to that, and you can
1500s.
read this stuff, it was fairies, right? So
Yeah, prior to that.
they dealt with the fairies, the fae. They were the devil, and then the seed was planted from Christianity to call that the devil, and then they started using that terminology.
Correct. It's
Yeah.
all words created by people who wanted
Labels.
to have power and control over other people.
That's right.
Yeah. So in other words, what does it mean? Nothing.
What's it all mean?
What's it all right?
Yeah.
What's it all mean?
What's it all mean? It means help each other just for the sake of helping, because you can and because you should. That's what it means. That's the meaning of life.
That's
Can't
sage
agree
advice.
more. Yes.
Everything
That is
else,
sage advice. I think that's great. I think people should be grateful. Grateful is a good thing. You
Yeah.
can't do enough of that. Just
no, well, people aren't grateful because let's pray for them because I want them to survive cancer. No, let me put this out, and I know people are going to be pissed off, but you know what? Tough shit. No one survives cancer. You just continue living until you don't. You wake up in a baby body, you're either here for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 years, or 50 years. No more, no less. You're here for as long as you're meant to be here. You get something, it's about your soul learning to go through it because your soul chose the body it was coming into, knowing that body was going to have cancer and how it was going to see how it was going to react. And you can react two ways. You can sit around with your thumb up your ass all day long and do nothing, or you could do something about it. But either way, at some point, you're still going to die.
right. There is a fate in store, one way or another. I like that idea. It's something we hear a lot, right? That soul knows when it enters that body, when it's going to die, how it's going to die, and all the stuff, and which seems like predeterminism. I got to say that, and not free will.
Fate.
Like, wasn't there something you could have done to prevent that cancer? Or, maybe you shouldn't have been such a heavy smoker or something
Some
like
people
that.
get cancer, some people don't. Some people catch a cold, some people don't. Some people get COVID, some people don't. Everyone dies.
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
one thing. We all got
Some
that.
people
in
get
common.
leg cramps, some people don't. it's just, you know what the simplest part about it is? No one can see that. They don't see it. But the only reason they don't see it is because the world wants to keep you confused, so you don't see it. If we were taught the true meaning of life and death, why we're here and what our purpose is, we wouldn't be going through a tenth of what we go through in this world. We wouldn't have guilt because I didn't get a chance to see my father before he passed away. You wouldn't have any of that. You would know that your dad is leaving because it's time for him to go. And you will leave too, and you will see him again if you walk into the light. Or if he remained here as an earthbound spirit, you could see him there too. But why would you want to stay there? It sucks. I see it. I see thousands of people walking around. There's no buildings. There's just kind of like land, and they're just kind of walking around to nowhere because there is nothing. They just keep going. They stay in groups because they want to stay away from the negative ones.
Yeah, I didn't know there was as much infighting. That's an interesting thing.
My God. Because here's how I know there's that much infighting. Look around the world, Chris. Look at all the infighting that's going on here. It's the
Yeah.
same
Oh,
thing.
certainly.
You're just
It's
in,
human.
you're just it's all those people in a different realm. That's all. They're doing the same fucking thing.
People talk about spiritual warfare all the time.
Yes.
And there's these huge groups of people that do this, and they do it in a sort of biblical way. And it's just simply good versus evil. But I think what you're saying is like the spiritual warfare is just kind of just happening right here in front of us. And it's not
Evil is a
God.
choice.
I was just kind of pissed off spirits getting
Yeah,
mad
it's because they
Evil is
choose
what?
to be pissed off.
You said evil is what? I'm sorry.
Evil's a choice. They choose to be what they are. Because
So when
you have that choice to either walk into the light or not and stay here. But if you were walking around going, oh, I'm gossiping about this person and that person, and I'm gossiping about them because I don't have a life, and I want to feel like I have a life because no one likes me and all that stuff. So, but I have power over people once I gossip about them, and everybody comes to me, and now it makes me feel wonderful. And then I start being a piece of shit and all this stuff, and then you end up being a piece of shit throughout the rest of your life. And then
So
you
it's
die.
balance.
Yeah.
Basically, evil, whatever, if you want to call it that, label it at that. The negative, the wicked bad, I don't know.
Yeah.
And, and then light. So
Well, it's only
like
wicked.
without,
It's only wicked if you come from Connecticut or Boston
or
Right.
Rhode Island.
or Rhode Island. Yeah, you
Massachusetts.
fucking people.
Rhode Island. At
Fucking
least
people.
people. But anyway, that's what I was wondering,
Yeah, it's
just
trying to
like
balance out
slingshot and
yourself.
balance.
Yeah, it's about balance of but you're choosing the balance. You're choosing which way you want to go. Do you want to go this way or that way?
Well, apparently we all need to come back around and learn again. Learn.
Well, you'll
like
only come
years.
back if you walk into the light. If you remain here, earthbound spirit, and just stay there, you won't come back. But
Right. It's
And
what
that's
a
why
lot of
people
hauntings
cross
are.
over people.
Kinda-
well,
that
that's going to
years.
change. So when I leave out of here this time, and this is my last time, and I go home, I'll go back to. They say they're going to let me go on a big, huge vacation because I've been here forever, and then I have a choice to go back to being Archangel or not, and I could just remain Daniel if I wanted to. But nah, I like the bigger choice. So, but when I leave, after that, when this place does come to an end, God's going to come back one more time into that realm, into the earthbound realm, into the lower realm, and that gives them one more chance to cross over. And anyone who does, great. Anyone who doesn't, their soul will actually die. They will
So no light.
disappear.
So when you say vacation, where would they put you? Like, where would you go?
Probably back to riding motorcycles and playing the drums because I miss it.
There you go.
There you go.
Because I had to
Chris
let
is
go
an
of-
awesome bass player.
The motorcycle stuff I still do. The drum stuff I can't do. I'm losing muscle mass in my hands. I can't do it. But I am a medium, and this is what I do. And I have life, outside of this. But as soon as somebody turns around and says something, I'm on. And they want answers, I get them. This is who I am. This is who I will be and always will be until it's time for me to go. And I have taken that kind of commitment, the kind of commitment that I listen to everything they tell me to do. I trust it and I follow through with everything. Like I said, all the way down to taking my medication to everything. I do what they ask me to do. But I have done that since being here since the beginning. I have been this every single time, just different periods of lifetimes. But I volunteered to come here and be this light thing. I didn't find out until like 2.5 years into finding out I was a medium. They kept calling me in those channeled messages, they're guiding light, and I just never knew why. But I wasn't ready for it yet. And then when they told me that part, again, they would always tell me in channel messages, you have a choice, Daniel. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. But I always tell them, I said, but I have to do this. I can't leave it to somebody else. And they said, well, you're the guiding light. You can't leave that to anyone else. And I was like, that's
It's
when
a
I said, what
purpose.
does that mean?
Right.
And they said,
It's a
you're the
purpose.
light into heaven.
Mm.
No, it's
But not
great.
just that. It's in my book. I was in my, I was getting ready for work, and I was putting on my scrubs because I worked in prison and medical records. They wanted us all to look the same. I had people come up to me all the time. Hey doc. I got this problem with my elbow. I would tell them, sorry, I'm a gynecologist, but I'll take a look.
Oh, good Lord.
They look at me. I go, just kidding. Yeah, but I was getting ready for work one day. I heard them out loud. I walked into the closet. I was getting ready for work, getting my scrubs, and I heard this voice. hello, Daniel. And I was like, who is that? And I said, who's that? And he said, it's me, Manos. I said, I just stopped in my tracks. I knew it was. And I said, hey, Manos, what can I help you with? He said, although you are just like him, you cannot perform miracles, but you do wear the crown of thorns. You are the Word of God. Anything that you say is the Word of God. Anything that you talk about is the Word of God. And any answer that you give is the Word of God. And I said, what do I do with that?
Right.
What do you say to that? And I was like, what do I do with that? He said, we will continue to bring you messages. As long as you listen and trust us and follow through with it, everything will be okay. And I said, okay. He said, do you have anything else? No, I'm good. Then I just looked, I broke down in tears and said, I love you. And he said, we love you too. Now the weird thing is I know all is one and one is all. But he said we. But I see them as individuals, although if I get a touch from one angel or another archangel, it's yes. And if I get a no, it's no. And if I get the thought put in, that's what it is. The weird part was when I walked out of the closet, my wife's a nurse and she was sleeping because she works night shift. And I had to wake her up and tell her this. When I went to wake her up, she was already up. And I was like, what are you doing up? She's like, I heard the conversation. I said, what? She said, you just had a conversation with Manos in the closet? And I was like, yeah. She said, I said, what did you hear? She said, well, I couldn't really hear you, but I heard him call you the Word of God. Said you wear the crown of thorns. I said,
Wow.
what does that mean? She said, well, he said that you are just like Jesus, although you can't perform miracles, but you're just like Jesus. I was like, what do I do with that? She said, speak the Word of God.
And when you say the Word of God, you don't mean biblical references, correct?
No, because he is not biblical. Religion is biblical. How do you know religion took over the world? Here's how I'll show it to you. Go into a crowd and wait for somebody to sneeze. Because then somebody's going to say, God bless you.
Yeah.
Do you know where that term came from? When Jesus was walking around in this world, when people would sneeze, they thought demons were exiting your body. They would say, God bless you, so no more demons would go in your body. But you know what happened, Kristen? Everybody kept sneezing. Fucking idiot.
That's right. I remember that story.
Right. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was farting
Yeah.
in that level too?
It's
Did you
gas.
fart at demon?
Gaseous planets, babe, from last night.
yeah, gaseous planets. Yeah.
Why don't they get
Uranus.
sucked up into the...
Why
Thank
doesn't
you.
Jupiter leave a trail? Right.
Yeah.
Right. No,
Maybe
you said, what isn't Uranus? You were really
yeah.
on last night.
Yeah.
It was so funny. We were just
That's where the
giggling.
Klingons are from? I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
No, but it was whatever you was. It was.
No, that baby's clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you like to think so, but if she does your laundry, she knows better. So. Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
my love.
Yeah.
I mean hers, not mine.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Okay.
hey, yeah.
Well,
It's
again,
going south. It's going south.
No biblical, no, there is no 10 commandments because God he doesn't command you to do anything. He wants us to love him and to love each other. He does not want us to worship him. Jesus does not want us to worship him because when we are doing that, we are wasting time not doing what we could be doing, which is taking care of each other.
That's right.
That's
Yeah, I
what
like
they're
that
doing. God
better.
is fine.
All
He
the
doesn't need to be worshipped. Jesus is not a king. That is a bunch of bullshit. The Garden of Eden is where you live. We all live in the Garden of Eden. It's this planet. Look what we're doing to it.
We know.
No. He wants us
We're
to
very
get rid of the
jealous.
Bible. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of... Come on, do you really believe that Noah could be 960 years old? And then, okay, so he's 960 years old. So that means all of his kids grew up to be 960 years old? And then, when they finally landed, his daughters got married to Cain and Abel. But how's that possible? Because the floods killed everybody.
Yeah, and we only had Adam and Eve, and then that was a weird story
Did
as
we?
well. Cain and Abel.
Wow. Crazy,
I
right?
know, right? And this is a whole shitload of shit we can go down right now.
Right.
We've
I'm
been,
sorry.
we've been on for
Here's the
quite
thing
a
about
while.
Noah.
So I want to make sure we incorporate your website and
Yes.
your book before before we depart.
Oh yeah, look at it down
Sorry,
there.
not
Cool.
to stir
Yeah,
everything, but
thanks.
I'm looking at it's like it's after midnight. And,
Yeah, it's at www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. Yeah.
let me bring them here.
Hey, look at that pretty picture. We got those pictures taken, and there was a picture of me and my wife taken, but we got that picture taken, and I looked at it. I was like, "Who's that?" It looks kind of like me, but that guy's like really friggin' handsome. So whenever I want to get lucky, I show that picture to my wife.
That's a good pick.
Do you
Oh,
know
you're
with
just nervous.
Noah, if it rained 40 days and 40 nights, you know there would be so much moisture in the air that no one would live anyway because you wouldn't be able to breathe. There'd
Really?
be so much moisture in the air you couldn't breathe. So no. And they always talk about, well, but we found an ark. And I always say, so no one else ever owned a boat?
Nice. Oh, we really like that.
Yeah,
What's a
I mean,
boat? When you said that, I was going to go and say real quick, the Anunnakis, one of the kings lived to be 20,000 years old.
No. Yes and no.
Yeah, the initial kings had these incredible lifespans per the
Well, they had incredible lifespans
uniforms.
because they're not from here. They're aliens.
Exactly.
They live longer than we do.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, to them, our lifetime is just a blink of an eye because they live
Oh,
longer.
sure,
Their
yeah.
sense of time is just so
Well,
much different.
Your
Perhaps
lifetime as a
lifetime of a
human
planet
is
blink
your
of an eye.
lifetime as a human is a blink of an eye, but they know the soul comes back over and over and over again. So life doesn't ever end. It just manifests in different ways. You come into a body, then you're out of a body, then you come into another body, and you're out of a body. But you're here, and then you go back home. You're here, and you go back home. You're here, and you go back home, and then maybe you go back home and stay home, or you stay in this earthbound realm, this other lower energy realm. But life never. It's a blink of an eye in our terms of being human because we live and die, and but I mean. I can remember things when I was 18 years old, but man, that's gone now. So, but you come into a body, you come back, you just keep going, but your life always continues. But yeah, we just see a lot of things in human terms. That's all. But
Right.
You're not meant to remember what's going on in heaven because if you did, you wouldn't be able to function here as a human being on Earth.
Maybe that's the way they should do it, though.
That's the way they do it.
No, I mean, like, I don't know.
The website is
Did I just say do?
spiritmediumdaniel.com. And where can people buy your book? Where can they find the book? I think you're
Amazon.
gonna have some
They can
readers.
just put in Daniel Jackson, The New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. Just put that in, and then you're going to have a picture come up. There's a better picture. Right there. That's what it looks like. And you see a man walking into the bright white light. That's me, because I am the light. And I sell it for $8. Okay.
Very
And
reasonable.
the story is all about me and how everything happened to me and for me in chronological order. But then at the very end is the one I really want them to pay attention to, which is chapter 12, called The Basics. And these are 25 channeled messages that were brought to me to bring to people so that people can learn to be better people and then help other people to become a better version of themselves in turn, which helps ourselves at the same time to treat each other with respect and to love each other and take care of each other. That's what it's about. But the book, my story about me, is to let people know that if you're going through this in your life, if you're having these types of experiences, reach out and find your people. There's someone else out there who's going through it or has been through it. Because we're not alone in this world. I mean, the president said it a couple of years ago, we're all in this together, but we have always all been in this together. And we can help each other, but you got to go out and find your people, but not just in a spiritual way. If you are going through anything in this life that you can't figure out, find your people and find someone who can help you. But when I submitted the book to the editor, because I'm not an author. I just wrote all this shit down. My grammar sucks, okay? So, but I submitted everything to the editor. The 25 messages, they sent it back because she said it didn't need to be edited because it didn't come from me. I did an author's thing here in town like 6 months ago, and the woman who holds it is a teacher at the college. She teaches writing. And she said when she read the book, she said it was like two different people. Someone else wrote the end of that book. It wasn't me. I just put it down.
Excellent.
Barbara.
And like it's pure channeling right there. Again, the website is spiritmediumdaniel.com. The book, you can find this on Amazon. Let me just share that right up here again. A New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium.
You can.
And this has been a fantastic and very interesting
Yes, thank
conversation.
you so very
I
much.
Oh,
think,
you're welcome, man.
perspective is fresh, and I think a lot of people appreciate that.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope they appreciate it for what it's meant to be, which is getting yourself figured out, getting yourself back on track, getting yourself knowing that not everything out there is the truth. Even with a lot of these mediums and a lot of these, psychic channels and all that stuff, they do tell you a lot of bullshit information to do one thing so that you'll just continue to be a customer. When I do a reading for someone, I do them Zoom or in person when I do these shows. But in the Zoom, it's $130 for 2 hours. If it's 3 hours, I don't care. If it's 4 hours, I don't care. I've done readings before. It's been like 5-6 hours. I didn't continue to charge them.
That's really
I
nice.
just got them the information that they needed to get to figure this out. I mean, the only thing I'm charging them for is for me to take the time. They're not being charged for the reading. They're being charged for the time it takes for me to do the reading. That's it. But other than that, when I do a reading for them, it's about them. And I just want them to get some peace and clarity and some type of direction in their lives to stay on track, to go home and stay home. Like for you two guys, when it's your time to go and you go to that holding place, they're going to go over your lives with it. But then at that point, this time around, they're going to tell you you don't have to go back. They're going to ask you if you want to go back. I want you to tell them no. I don't want you to have to come back and do this all over again, because the next life that you would have to come back to 80 years after your death, this is going to look like Mad Max here.
Yeah.
You're not going to be living. You're going to be surviving. Don't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun, right? I'll stay. You're going to stay.
But thank you so much.
You know what
if
you do when you
kind
get there and
word.
you stay home? Look me up.
Sounds good. We'll do
That's
that, and I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll talk before then.
Yeah.
And this has been a pleasure, and thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great Thursday night. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure who we have on. I hate to say that. It sounds very unprofessional, but I don't have it in front of
don't
me,
say
so
it.
I'm just not going to say it. I'm just going to say I don't know it, but we will be back. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks, guys, for
Yes.
sticking around.
Thank you so much. And
It's been a total pleasure, Daniel.
there
Thank
you
you.
go. Thank you.
My last bit of advice is be good and don't do any stupid shit. But if you do, don't get caught, man.
Sounds like
That's awesome.
sage words. Sage
That's my thing.
words.
Yeah.
I love it.
Excellent. Thank you, and good night, everyone.
Good night.